Do you take any responsibility for the country being divided against itself? Do you feel that?
I'd like not to, but, perhaps everybody has to take a little responsibility for it. But when people put out phony witch hunts, when they spy on your campaign, you have to fight back. And if you don't fight back, you're not sitting here very long. You go back home.
Most prominently, a lack of coverage of his unproven and unverified charges that former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter have received millions of dollars in corrupt payments from a Russian oligarch and a Chinese billionaire.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you something about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun, sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 770 cities around the world. We just finished our 13th year of broadcast excellence. Now in our 14th year, the Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. I like football. How about you? Watched a lot of it yesterday. I even let myself watch World Cup soccer. I noticed that the game is started 0-0 every single time. Both teams on each side has to deliver its best strategy, talent, conditioning, ingenuity, and top-notch effort to end up with a victory. And those victories are often by one measly point or goal. But millions of people celebrate the victory as if God had suddenly favored them with his presence. And the losers, also in the millions, are mentally distraught and must take measure to consciously avoid fighting with family and friends and or sinking into horrible, long-lasting, destructive depression. Such is politics. But much worse when one side has bent the fairness of voting by cheating and allying with the press and social media to censure all their bad news and lie about the country's good or bad news just to make the other side look awful. They are also known as criminals and traitors. We must find a way to level the playing field without a civil war. I've had two politicians separately say to me, if the election in Arizona is allowed to survive, canceling and revoting, eliminating most, if not all, cheating, our country will cease having elections in the sense that, like China, Russia, Venezuela, tyranny is always voted back until it's so unbearingly cruel a revolution has started like what's happening right now in Iran. Can we be saved without bloodshed? I don't know. But I do know we can't go on like this and still be American. We can't spot the Dems with a 14-0 lead ever again. No justice, no peace. Hi there, my name is Dave Weinbaum. I'm your radio talk show host today. Happy day after Thanksgiving, everybody. I know we had a good one. And JP Maxwell is here. He's the producer. My wife is taking a little time off. She got up, made me my bagel and cheese and lox and onion sandwich on an everything toasted bagel. Oh, that's so good. I got to tell you. And JP, how was your Thanksgiving?
Yep, we had a very good one. Thank you. Yep.
Good. And other producer, Rick Henderson, he's at home. He did all the clips. Or Wednesday, I guess we got that done, Wednesday. And I asked JP last week, I said, you want to do a show? If he had said, nah, not really, I would have said, okay, no problem. But I'm glad we're here, aren't you? Yeah. Because we got a string going here, and people are listening, I can tell. And I think we have a duty to be here. I mean, it's the least we can do to live in this country is to try to spread a little truth. Not a little truth, but a lot of truth. We tell the truth as best we can here on the show. We're not lying. Now, people can have an opinion as to whether we're lying about the stolen elections, but I don't understand that, quite frankly. I don't understand how people 2 days after that election or 2 days after the Arizona election, which has so much evidence right off the bat. The others have evidence, but that took a while to develop. The 2020 election, for example. All I can tell you is that I'm not lying when I say both those elections were stolen. That is my opinion based on the evidence. And there's tons of evidence for both. So how dare you call me a liar? How dare you call anybody a liar for believing that, other than Hillary Clinton, who knows that thing was tried to be stolen? How could you not know that she already had this Russian hoax ready for the press right after she got beat by Donald Trump and has never accepted him as the real president, as well as plenty of Dems? The View, they don't accept him as their champion.
Still
right?
To this day, yeah.
Yeah, I mean they don't. They said when Ted Cruz called him on it and says, "Well, what about you guys? Well, we don't go and have an insurrection." I says, "Well, try to explain to me how the violence of the 570 riots that happened, how did that suddenly leave your mind?"
Oh, Dave, those were just peaceful protests, remember?
Oh, yeah, right. Burning down cities, raping, murdering, fireballing cars and things like that. Oh, sure, right. So that's their idea of fairness. Whoopi Goldberg and the hags on The View, just relentless liars, and they're not fair. I mean, they're not thinking right. They don't think. I mean, if I think we're out of line, I'm going to say so. I'm going to tell you what I think Donald Trump's really only failure was, and that was his failure to hire outside of the swamp. He should have hired outside of the swamp. I see a smiling little face there. Oh, it's the rabbi. Play his song, please.
Yeah, 1 second, Dave. You were talking to another rabbi? Sounds like you're cheating on me.
No, actually, I'm cheating with you on him because he was the first rabbi. Listen to this. I got rabbis fighting over me. This is kind of weird. Ladies and gentlemen, bread baker, bread breaking. He travels the world, aligning Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Please welcome the nonprofit prophet all the way from Efrat, Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothchild. Hi, Rabbi.
Hi, Dave. How
Happy
are you?
Thanksgiving. Do I say that to you?
We're actually having turkey tonight for the Sabbath meal, our Shabbat meal.
Is that in honor of
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving?
Of course,
All
yeah.
right. Does anyone else in Israel? I guess there's a lot of
Yeah,
Americans that have lived there.
there are a lot of expats here,
Yeah.
and they sell a lot of turkey this time of year.
Okay. Well, great. I'm glad you stayed inside while they were hunting
Yeah.
turkey out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And yesterday we watched the Thanksgiving Day parade.
Yeah.
So we do that every year.
Do Israelis like American football?
Well, I don't know if Israelis do, but the Americans living here do. I watched the Lions and Buffalo game.
Good games.
Great game.
I
Great
watched
game.
Dallas as well.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get back to solid Middle East stuff.
Yeah.
Oh God, what can I say?
Like soccer.
Yeah, soccer, right? Shin Bet thwarts. What is Shin Bet? Is that the federal cops?
It stands for the Shabak, which is like our secret. It's like the FBI.
Oh God, don't say that in a good way, right? Shin Bet thwarts bus bombing by Gazan Arab with who had a work permit, and this is after 2 bombs exploded already at bus stops in Jerusalem, and that was fatal and injured a bunch of Israelis. Had nail bombs. Are we headed for another war there?
Well, there's been a real spike lately. 10 days ago, there were 3 fathers who were killed. In total, they had 12 orphans, 3 widows. I mean, it was terrible. And before that, there's been a few others. So we have seen a spike, and there's a lot of concern. I was actually on the bus on the way into Jerusalem when my phone starts to go crazy. Everybody in my family reaching out to me and I hadn't seen yet about the bombing at the entrance to Jerusalem. My bus was on the way with a different entrance, but we had to reroute. And I had to get off the bus and walk to my destination. But a 16-year-old boy was killed. A bomb was set off remotely by a bus stop.
Yeah. And
at 7 a.m. when people are going to work, people are going to school, and 22 people were injured, some seriously. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I think we need to get our new government in there fast and let them crack down and get these terrorists off the street.
Well, you got the guy you want.
Yeah.
You got Bibi Netanyahu, who you predicted wisely a couple of months ago. So he's having trouble negotiating a government, though, is he?
Well, we got some good news today. They one of the important parties, the Religious Zionist Party, they signed on to the agreement. And it looks like they're going to have it done in the next few days. That's
great.
What I think.
Once again, blacks in New York claim to be the real Jews. Not me, and certainly not you. We're just imposters.
Yeah.
Now these based on Ethiopian Jews, because there's plenty of black Jews there, or what's the deal with them?
They call themselves the Black Hebrews, and let's just say when Hitler was putting us into the gas chambers, I don't think they were out there screaming, "Take us, we're the real ones."
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point. Oh, I got to put that on Twitter. That's
yeah.
It's sadly funny, all right.
Yeah,
sadly funny, and you got big stars in the U.S. with lots of influence, including Kyrie Irving and Kanye,
and now Whoopi Goldberg this week. I don't know if you saw it.
Who's that? Said. Oh, Whoopi Goldberg. Yeah, I saw that. I just talked about her, and Candace Owens is shockingly. Silent about this, or she's like saying she understands Kanye.
Right.
I mean, she is actually enabling this guy who you could like certain things he says, but he's crazy. He is mentally ill.
Right. You know what I think? It's kind of like there's like a dam holding back the water, and there's been so many leaks. you just can't plug every leak, and every time you turn, there's something else. And Whoopi Goldberg, you can't fight every single person, and I don't even know what the solution is.
Does she think she's a Hebrew Jew because she gave herself a Jewish name? Goldberg.
Yeah,
That's not a real name, folks. I think it's Johnson or something.
Yeah, I think it is. You're right, but I'm not sure. But that's not the first time she's got herself in hot water.
Well, yeah.
She got suspended for a couple of weeks, which, of course, we all know that had it been a white woman making a remark against the black community, they would have been fired.
They'd be gone. Now, Elon Musk, he banned a group praising Jerusalem bombing. So he's seems to be so far so good kind of thing in a cautious way. All right, he's got Donald Trump back on, and he's saying stuff like he is going to reveal all the negotiations that went on within Twitter about canceling the news from the New York Post about Hunter Biden's laptop. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and I sent you that meme this week that was very true, that if that laptop had belonged to Donald Jr., by now they would have been prosecuted and they all would have been in jail.
The whole family would have been there. If there was a dog in the family, that dog would be in jail, right? He'd be in doggy jail right now. Yeah.
This criminal. This is criminal.
Yeah.
It's one thing had they said, okay, let's cover it up till after the election. The election's over. Now let's, move forward. But they didn't even do that. It's just it's a total cover up. And
it took them 2 years, CBS, 2 years to admit this stuff. In fact, I'm trying to think if this is the right one, but play number 5 for the rabbi. I know we got limited time, so I'll hurry up.
Yeah.
Suburban women, will you please like me? Remember? Please. I saved your damn neighborhood, okay?
You said the other day to suburban women, will you please like me, please?
Oh, I didn't say that. That's so misleading the way I say jokingly, suburban women, you should love me because I'm giving you security and I got rid of the worst regulation. See, the way you said that is why people think of you and everyone else as fake news. I said kiddingly, suburban women, you should love me. I got rid of a regulation that would bring low-income housing into suburbia that would destroy suburbia. And I said that in a joking way. The way you have it, it's like, like I'm begging. I'm kidding. Play it, and I'm kidding. That is such a misleading question, Leslie.
Yeah, and another one, he covers her, saying that we can't print that. We're 60 Minutes. We're CBS. We can't publish unverified things like the laptop, like the fact that his organization was being surveilled. Well, we can't do it. It's unproven. Finally, 2 years later, they're saying, guess what? The New York Post story about the laptop is true. 2 years. What kind of lying mass media do we have?
Yeah, it's people tend to think that somehow the news, the media is intended to be fair. They don't realize it is a business no different than any other business, and they have to calculate how they're going to make the most money, and if it means lying and cheating and covering up, so they're going to lie, cheat, and cover up, and they're going to calculate what's in it for them, what's best for them. They're not out to report what the truth is. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and it's a big ally to combine the media with the Democratic Party and combining these not only that, the social media sites to conspire with the Democratic Party to reveal or not reveal hurtful news and to reveal helpful news that isn't true.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
So Trump announces that with Bibi and the Middle East reaction, investment in Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries via the Abraham Accord Forum. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken about this many
Yeah.
times, and of course, it's great.
Is that a
And
bad thing? Is that a bad thing or a good thing? Israel's getting real close with Morocco, Saudi Arabia,
well, what I was going to
other
say is
countries.
this week, Azerbaijan, which is a Muslim country, announced they're going to put an embassy in Jerusalem.
Yeah, it's incredible. Isn't this what we wanted all along? Peace between Jews and Muslims?
Exactly. It's what we've been praying for, that we've been hoping for since the state has been founded, and now suddenly we have it. And you know, the Biden administration doesn't want to advance something that they didn't start, that they're not going to get the credit for. So they don't really care about peace in the Middle East. What they care about is being able to say, they don't want to say that Trump did something good. So
I think it's more than that. I think they really don't like Israel. I think this was under Barack Obama. Remember, Barack Obama, when Bibi in his last power position, when he went to the White House, they locked him in a room in the back of the place. Yeah. Okay, they treated him like dirt, like a prisoner.
Right. This week, Mike Pompeo, you know, he said that the administration, it's filled with the anti-Zionists. You know, there's and anti-Zionists, anti-Semites, it's all the same.
The same, right?
Yeah.
Sure. You know, they say democracy dies with censorship. In the USA, it's CBS after 2 years now saying that Hunter Biden's laptop was true, and that's pure utter censorship, because that in itself could have thrown the election. It was like 2 weeks before the actual election in 2020, November the 3rd, and sure, people afterwards said that if we had known this to be true, we would not have voted for Biden.
Right.
It's like almost 20% of people that were polled said that. Yeah. It was a high number.
Yeah, a high number, and so there you go. Now, I have a question, a biblical question here. I want to do the basketball because we missed that one. Let's do basketball. And by the way, before you start, let's talk about who's next on the show, and that's the opening act. That's J.J. Bradshaw. He's still the opening act. I don't care whether he's not official or not.
You might need a new label.
And we have to introduce you after.
Why don't you call him the Daylight Savings Time opening act?
Okay, Daylight Savings Time opening act. Thank you. It's a little long for JJ. Why do you think he calls himself JJ? Because he abbreviates. Okay, he's perfect. I don't have to say Jeffrey.
You're abbreviated in height.
Well, that's boy. Listen, okay, that's fine. You carry out the judge, and I'm short. All right, that works. We're even, right? Okay, so what we got is I'm pretty sure we got the McCluskeys, Mark and Patricia McCluskeys at supposedly 9:15, I think, because when I asked them to be on the show, he called me, and I was half asleep, and I don't know if I said anything about 10:30 or whatever. So we're going to find out, and then we got at 10 o'clock we got Elad Hakim, who's going to have a lot to say about a lot of legal stuff and his opinions about Trump, his opinions about him being the AG, as well as Mark McCluskey was saying, he'd love to be the AG. So we have a conflict on the show of two of these great patriots wanting to be the AG for President Trump. And I think if one of them loses out on that, then they probably would have another pretty good spot for him too, advisor or whatever. Wouldn't that be cool? All right, so let's and finally, last but not least, Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim was always a hoot. Who's going to tell us what all this means? She's going to do a little bit of therapy on me. I mean, on all of us in terms of how we should think about stuff. How did Thanksgiving go? Did we talk politics? Did you cancel either your conservative friends or your liberal friends? Did you have arguments with your liberal children or conservative children? I'd like to know, because we have a story to tell here. Hit it.
I noticed or read where you scored about 20 points a game.
That's right.
That's amazing. How can you possibly score 20 points a game?
Basically, most of my points are scored from the foul line. John, what I do is I wait until the other team gets the ball. Right. Then I just run down to the other end. Then I set up my position like this. Right. And then they just run into me, bang, like this. And then I pretty much...
Well, that's intriguing. Right. But do you ever actually get to handle the ball during the game?
I do. Once in a while, they'll get it to me. I'm pretty doggone good, the ball handler. I'm short, but once they get it to me, I got it. It's hard.
That's amazing. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Well, I guess... I would imagine. I guess at your height, you actually see a different game than the other players.
Johnny, at my height, I not only see a different game, I smell a different game.
Well, I don't understand what you mean.
Well, I'm dealing mostly in shoes and socks.
Oh, yeah, I see.
What I mean. See, so, beginning of the season, it's not too bad. But as that season goes on, we're talking a waffle, By the time I get to the finals, I could take the...
That's good stuff. Okay, all right. Does anybody object to the humor that goes on this show? I'd like to know. Give me a call. 573-578. I see you in the picture here, Lisa. Lisa objects to me telling jokes. Can you believe that?
I object to some of them, yes.
I'm going to write a song. I'm writing this in my head. I'm starting to think that I could have been a songwriter too. I developed a golf hole on a golf course that everybody loves and hates at the same time. It's a second hole at Oak Meadow Country Club, and they put everything I asked for, other than the fact that I wanted it to be a par 4 instead of a par 3. And like it is the way it is, though, I mean, it's a tough hole. And the good golfers out there like it as a par 3. So we were going to have tees back a little bit. Now they're using the same tees as when it was a par 3, and it still is a par 3, but it is one tough sucker. And if you get a par in that hole, you're doing really good. So, anyways, we're back on the show. If you want to call the show, 573-578-2700. How was your Halloween? How was your Thanksgiving? How were the conversations at the table? How was the food? Was it real expensive, or did you not care about it, or whatever? I mean, we need to know. Did I mention Rick Henderson? Yeah, good. All right.
Everything was expensive.
Okay, my wife now, she went out and bought all the stuff with,
multiple trips.
Multiple trips.
Like I walked in.
You look very nice today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel like,
well, she's
something
tired.
Warmed over. And
she is
I
tired.
must say that I object to being here today.
And, just a minute. I didn't tell you had to come. Did I?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
You asked me
I
twice
said
this
I'd
morning.
like you to come. I was very pleasant about it. And I said I'd like you to come. And you were... a little wobbly about it, and then you got up and made I made coffee, but you made my breakfast.
I made the coffee the night before for you.
Yes, and you set it up for me.
You pushed a button.
Did I?
Congratulations.
Ooh, I'm pushing a button right now. I bet you. I'm trying to be nice, you see, but I do tell jokes, and I can't help that. And sometimes she's the subject of it. Sometimes I'm the subject of it. Okay, so I mean, people have. I'm going to tell this joke later. I don't know if I should or I shouldn't. It involves some ethnicity. Should I tell this joke?
Uh-oh.
Should I tell it right now or wait?
I don't know.
I think I'm going to wait for a while.
I think it's risky.
It could be, and I told the joke to JP,
okay.
And I asked him if what was wrong with the joke. Anything? What was wrong?
In my opinion, no. But there are other sensitive people out there that might feel differently. I don't know.
I got somebody ticked off at this a long time ago when I told this joke. By the way, I wrote the joke too. And, I tell Jewish, what's the difference between a Jew and a canoe?
One tips.
Yeah, canoe tips. Okay, so I'm a great tipper.
But you're also Jewish, though, so you can.
I'm Jewish.
Yep.
And that wouldn't bother me when they started making jokes about the gas chambers and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, I will give it back to you in spades, and I have done that, but in a joking way. But I've got all these other jokes in my mind that can be hurtful, and I try not to tell them. I've done stand-up comedy, and there was a little bit of that woke nature when I was in my mid-50s. That was like 20 years ago. So I wonder about that, and I wonder how these comedians make it today. I listened to Chappelle, and he said some jokes about Judaism and all that. I didn't get offended at it. Everybody, oh, how dare you? How dare you mention anything? And I don't know. I mean, yeah, you might hurt somebody's feelings, but it's something about the comedians. And I don't know if I have a clip from. I don't know if we can do. Do we have anything from Tucker Carlson? Yeah, the comedians. Do clip number 7.
He's also pro-life, personally, and willing to say so out loud. Earlier this month, Denny was preparing to host a comedy show in Rutherford, New Jersey. That's about a half hour outside of New York. But just minutes after the show was announced, Antifa, a violent radical group, decided to shut it down. Hundreds of Antifa-affiliated Twitter accounts started bombarding the venue, called the Williams Center. They also went after the chief of police of Rutherford, a man called John Russo, and they threatened violence. Now, at that point, a chief of police who wanted to defend the Constitution, his solemn duty, would have pushed back and affirmed the sacred right of free expression of every American. But that's not what Chief Russo did. Instead, he caved to the demands of the mob.
Shut the door. She's arguing with me because I asked her to shut the door. It gets hot here. Okay, turn on the fan. God. Go ahead, turn it on.
Yes, dear. Right away, dear.
Man alive. I got to do, yeah, baby.
Good time for a commercial break here.
No, we have time?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Here, your first commercial. Spend your money with these people.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is a castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh, baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Buddy, you're a boy, make a big noise, playing in the street, gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face.
You big disgrace, getting your can all over the place. We will rock you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a 254-year-old man on the show. I saw him mouthing things while the commercial ran out a little bit into his time that resembled something like SOB, and for being late, I guess. I don't know, but, you know, he's a little cranky at times, but he is got a great brain, and he's endured 254 years, way back to the time of the Revolution. Please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri. He's going to give us a little splinter of what he's got in that big brain of his. Please welcome John Jeffrey Bradshaw. Hi, JJ. How are you?
Good morning. I am just superb. How about you?
I am feeling better than I should. Let's put it that way.
Say, I recognize that Lisa left you alone by yourself a little while back.
Yeah.
Lisa, never leave him unsupervised.
It's a bad thing.
I want to know how the toilet got broken.
Oh, wait, guess who finished the job?
Oh, come on.
Guess who? Oh, no. You did this on Facebook. Mine was an accident. I don't know what the hell you were thinking. She destroyed the rest of the top.
It was already compromised.
Yeah.
Big time.
Okay. They tried to camouflage it with a towel over it because it was like a tenth of it was like
we had company
broken.
Coming for Thanksgiving, and we got a broken.
And apparently, she decided she was going to break the rest. So, but thanks for pointing that out on my show, JJ.
You guys are living in a new house, and frankly,
no, we're not.
Not
yet.
40 years.
We're not living in a new house.
No, we are not yet.
Our house is being built. I've been guaranteed, though, that it will be sometime before the end of the decade when they get it ready.
Say, Dave, on to politics, and shame on you for breaking the crapper. Let's talk about Arizona for a moment.
You're a classic guy, I got to tell you.
You know, Jess Inc. talks about this often. And,
yes.
Here we are 2 weeks away from the election. One would think that everything would be settled.
Yeah.
Yet Maricopa County continues to amaze all of us who are reasonable people.
Yes.
Carrie Lake has filed numerous lawsuits, and a big one yet to come, according to her.
Yeah.
The state attorney general has filed a lawsuit. Now, in 2020...
Wait, and the governor has already congratulated Katie Hobbs? Katie Hobbs for being the new governor. And he's a Republican.
This election has not yet been certified.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And I hear there's 4 counties out there that are refusing.
Recognize that, in 2020, Maricopa County was a disaster. And one would think that in the ensuing 2 years, that they would have taken some steps to remedy these things. And apparently they have done nothing other than make a lot of noise. So here we are 2 weeks post-election, and we still don't know who won.
Yeah.
Now, contrast that with Florida, who about the time the sun came down, said, yep, we're done.
And nobody's complaining. Is there anyone complaining about cheating going on in Florida? I haven't heard a peep out of any Democrat saying, oh, my God, it was stolen. They haven't said that.
They have not. Florida's election looked like it was done well above boards with great transparency, which is the way elections should be done. And here we have this bleeding wound of Maricopa County, Arizona, that just goes on and on and on and on. Now, they're not the only guilty ones. Lauren Boebert, Republican Colorado, John Duarte, Republican California, still not decided.
No, Bogart hasn't been decided.
Oh, is that right?
She won.
Okay.
And you know why she won? I gave her $100 at the last minute.
Oh, good job, Dave.
See, I carried her over the top.
And UPS'd her a broken
And do you
toilet
know why I
down.
gave her $100? Because she is possibly the only congresswoman that follows me on Twitter. She's got about 1 million people that follow her, and she follows me. She follows a little over 2,000. So I gave her $100.
California is not a recount state, so the John Duarte election is within 0.5%.
Yeah.
And California does not recount. Colorado was within, close to 0.5%, and they do a recount, but I don't think it ever it met that 0.5% criteria. But the point that I'm trying to make is here we are 2 weeks after the election occurred, and we're still fighting over these things. This is not the way our founding fathers intended this to be. Back when this was a plain old paper election, we didn't have machines doing the counting. People honestly counted the votes, and whatever occurred. We have strayed so far from that. And what a shame. I'm afraid our representative republic is falling on bad times as a result of these things. The cheating goes unpunished. And that's the segue into the next thing I wanted to talk about, that when you have these awful things occurring, like Maricopa County, the damage is already done by the time the lawsuits are filed. You declare a winner, the public says, yep, that's a winner, and the lawsuits become moot. And here we are a couple of years later after the 2020 elections, and the lawsuits are still flying.
Yeah.
There is no justice if justice does not occur in a reasonable amount of time. And the way our legal system is set up, it runs slowly. It grinds slowly along. And whatever result you end up getting is moot by the time it occurs. What a darn shame that is. Our country wasn't set up to be that.
It's got to stop. It does have to stop. And it's either the judges are going to get involved, which they are reluctant to do. They don't want to get involved in anything political because they're scared and they can be intimidated. And so it's about the local legislatures having good election laws. That's why the Congress, the people that made up the Constitution said that we're going to leave that up to the local legislatures to make the election laws. Okay, and you have to follow those laws. You can't just ride over them.
In the red states, it's likely that there will be, in this coming year or two, some election reform put into place, but the red states are not the place where the problem is. And the blue states are loath to do anything to make the cheating less likely.
But some of those blue states have Republican majority legislatures.
Well, they do, but what's the odds of getting anything passed? And any Democrat governor is going to veto.
Well, that's part of the Supreme Court case that's up and coming, that the governors cannot do that anymore because it's not in the Constitution. They cannot cancel out what the legislature says in that particular duty they have for the states and via the Constitution.
I'm interested in what the Supreme Court might have to say about that, and so far they have been quiet.
I don't think they've ruled on it yet.
No, they have not, but it's being looked at. But the question is, Dave, the damage is already done.
Yeah, well, like I said in my monologue, JJ, hopefully we can do this and do it with reason. We can't start each election like a football game, 14 points down before it starts. We can't do that anymore. It's wrong. It's against the Constitution for this reason. Your vote is part of your First Amendment right, because that reflects, and it's been ruled this way, or by various law schools like Yale, I believe did, and maybe even Harvard. But that is a First Amendment right. Your ability to express yourself via the vote,
and myriad other ways.
Yeah,
I think we have an administration that would love to suppress that, and they are actively doing that.
Oh yeah, JJ wanted to say something.
Tech.
Yeah, and I want to give you a lot of credit on that because I actually really hadn't even thought of that. My right to vote is another way to express my First Amendment right. I thought that was a great point.
Bingo.
That's another way that they're trying to silence us with our First Amendment rights.
Very anti-constitutional what they're doing.
And
it
so
should
far
be
they're getting away with it, Dave.
Well, we have a bunch of judges who are, quite frankly, afraid to get involved. They're cowards. They're not upholding their own pledge to keep the Constitution, to keep in accord with the Constitution. They're not doing it, and that ticks me off.
No one knows what happens behind the closed doors, what bribes and what threats occur, and what dirt one person has on another.
Some of the threats we know. Kavanaugh was almost assassinated.
Say that again?
I said some of the threats we know. Kavanaugh, there was an assassination attempt made against him.
I'm sure those things occur all the time. That's just one we happen to know about.
I don't know.
Well, I suppose that will unfold as it unfolds. Lisa mentioned a whole lot of dollars spent on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Any trip to the grocery store will show you what inflation has done.
Uh-huh.
I am a member of Axios. Axios is a financial, how should we put it, a financial reporting outfit. And I follow finance fairly closely because it affects me directly. And Axios this morning came out and said that inflation this calendar year, will cost each family in the United States about $7,400.
Wow.
Now, I did not look at their background information on that. That's just something that they happen to say. But it seems right. One trip to the grocery store, and you can tell that inflation is very much at the forefront. And I'm a middle-class guy. It hurts me some.
Sure.
But how'd you like to be on the bottom of the economy?
I don't know. You'd be working your ass off, or you'd I don't know what you'd do. Personally,
you're taking a permanent pay cut.
It's a permanent pay cut, and anybody who doesn't think so is out of their minds, or they're on they're on some kind of government program.
Well, I'm afraid there's way too many people on the dole who are not interested in working. And if you look, we're having an employment problem in this country. The executive branch keeps harping about it, that there are far more jobs available than there are people to fill them.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a whole underclass in this country that, this sounds so bigoted, but I'm going to say it. These are the folks that have got a whole bunch of tattoos. They drink pretty good booze. They got cigarettes all the time. They're getting their meals bought for them by the government. And frankly, they have decided that they can live on that and don't need to bother to get a job.
I thought you were talking about Twitter employees for a minute there.
Well, there's some of those that are they're hitting the
Well, they got free lunches. Did you know that? They got free lunches, and they were babied. They could work from home.
Who put this thing in place? Well, you can blame it on Lyndon Johnson's Great Society, is where all this garbage started. But it has grown way out of proportion. And as a middle-class guy, I strenuously object to supporting these folks who are little more than parasites. As far as I'm concerned, let's cut this stuff. Cause these people to be motivated to go and get a freaking job.
Like I always say, JJ, be a worker, not a shirker.
Indeed. One last thing, Dave.
Yes.
The FTX, Foxtrot Tango X-ray debacle that is occurring and unfolding as we speak. When Bitcoin came out, I thought this is kind of a unique idea. I could see that there's a lot of fraud that could occur with it because these transactions occur without any paper trail. And now we see FTX in bankruptcy, their former CEO in hiding. And the folks that had invested in that, and some of them were fairly large investments, watched their dollars go up in smoke because this thing was supported by nothing but smoke. What a shame. And at some point, maybe a Congress that is better than the one that we have will force some regulation on this so that this does not happen again. But we're talking $3.2 billion. Billion
dollars, right.
That has vanished.
And by the way, a lot of that money was you know where that money was headed for?
They went to the Democrats.
It was headed for DNC. This guy already got away with spending $40 million during these elections, and he took money out of the customers' accounts to do it. In other words, the Democrats are living on stolen money.
What financial institution that you're aware of, short of FTX and their subsidiaries and their cronies, would be allowed to do that?
But there were a lot of guys who are a lot smarter than me about investments. They were saying this guy is, well, he's the new Berkshire. He's the new Warren Buffett. I mean, seriously, they said it on air.
Went down in flames, though, didn't it, Dave?
I said to myself, I don't get this. I'm not going to put a dime in it because I don't understand it.
I didn't put a nickel in it either because it appeared to be such a fallacy to me. And I kept thinking while I was observing this, and of course Axios has commented on it many times, that this thing was backed by nothing other than a fellow's word that I'll do a good job for you. Well, the check's in the mail, Dave.
Right.
So we watch this thing go down in flames, and it is rapidly going into receivership. Whether anyone will get their money back is anyone's guess. You might get a nickel on a dollar back maybe a year or 2 or 3 from now because bankruptcy courts tend to run very slowly. So here we have, in the midst of an executive branch induced inflation, we have what I'm going to loosely call a financial institution, although that's a mighty loose definition, that just went down in flames. And I don't see the government running to bail that out. If you recall the banking crisis way back when, the government shored up a number of banks. Well, the banks are regulated. There is some structure to them. And this thing apparently was a free-for-all. The guy was using it as a slush fund to support his cronies in the Democrat Party. How far we have strayed from any kind of reasonable and honest banking in this regard. I'm so glad that I didn't have any money in it, although in the end, if they bail them out, I guess I'll be paying for it in any case.
Oh, wise one. I want your advice on this. What would you like to see the new leaders of the House of Representatives, called the Republicans, do to bring justice back to this country?
Oh, there's so many things, Dave, but their slight majority is not an awful lot of power. And since they don't have a Senate that can be relied upon, there's very little they could push through that's actually going to become law. What's going to occur, since they are somewhat powerless in getting any meaningful legislation shoved through, I can see a bunch of investigations. In fact, I think that's going to occur on day number 1. The only thing the Republicans have going for them in the House is that the House controls the purse strings. They can defund a bunch of things that Biden managed to push through by willing Democrat Congress and executive order. Some of those things can be undone. Now, a bunch of that money's already been spent. Will you ever see that again? Not a chance. It's gone. But perhaps they can undo some of the damage that he has done. The sad thing about this, Dave, is that it's going to take decades to undo the damage that the Democrats in Congress and the Democrat president have done. None of this is going to get fixed overnight. Legislatures move fairly slowly as it is.
Well, now, who would you want as president Do you think? Okay, and do you think that in his case, he can do things fairly quickly? He did it once. He did it actually twice. Once after the election, and once after the pandemic. He got things rolling again. Okay, say what you want to. But he can do things twice. He can do things twice as fast as any of these guys can do it.
Let's have a little fantasy here, Dave. Let's say that Donald J. Trump gets elected in 2024.
Okay.
And he has a slight Republican advantage in the Congress.
Yeah.
That may improve a bit in 2024 because we have another election coming up.
And it's very favorable in the Senate because we have maybe 10 seats up. The Democrats have about 24 seats coming up. So it's going to be tough for them.
Let's assume that we get a majority in the Senate by however many numbers it is. So in this fantasy, let's say that Donald J. Trump is president. We have a slight majority in the Senate. We have a little majority in the House. One would think that would be rife for pushing through some legislation that could actually do some good in this country. And maybe that will happen. I'm afraid, though, that the Republicans have shown themselves to be fairly spineless as far as getting anything meaningful pushed through. So many of them are insiders and much more interested in their power base than they are to do anything to improve your life or mine. So do I expect big things to happen? No, I don't. I think the Democrats will do a full court press against Donald J. Trump. At least they won't be able to impeach again. But do I expect big things to happen? No, I don't.
Well, how about little things happening that at least people are going to get to know stuff because you're going to have hearings that you didn't have for the last 4 years. You're going to have hearings in the House. They can't stop that. And the Republicans are going to run them. And if they run them right, at least the American public will be able to see what the hell has been going on over the last really decade until Donald Trump interrupted their little party.
I don't disagree with you on that, Dave. I think you expect more out of these clowns than what you're actually going to get.
Okay, well, they're talking like we have a mission now. They have specifically said what they're going to do with Hunter Biden and his father, mainly his father. They have put it out there. It's on the record. If they don't deliver, there's a problem. You're right.
Whether they follow through or not is anybody's guess. But assuming in this fantasy that Trump is reelected and becomes president, he can do some things with executive orders like he did when he was president that can unmess some of this stuff. Keystone XL pipeline, open it back up. Leasing on federal lands, open it back up. EPA regulations, back those things back down. The Biden administration has tightened those up so tight. Yes, he can do
I think he can do that fairly quickly.
And he can, but will that turn our economy around? No, we have.
Oh yes. I believe it absolutely will turn it around. You open up that pipeline. You open up the leasing on federal lands of oil, natural gas. I think that turns the economy around way before it actually happens in terms of the stock market and in terms of the consumer expectancy of what the government should be doing. Oh yeah. And the results will follow. You see, everything is a forecast.
Well, the results will follow, Dave. And he could do some things to mitigate these problems, but understand that there's a whole bunch of this money that's already been given away that we can't get back. And when you print money willy-nilly like that, it becomes fiat money, like in Europe during World War II. It's going to take a while to turn that around, and I think we're going to see decades before this thing is unmessed, if it ever gets unmessed. Would Trump help that? Of course, tremendously.
Oh, he will.
And having a Republican Congress will help that tremendously.
Yeah,
getting a slight majority in the Senate for Republicans will help that tremendously. But I think what you're expecting is a quick turnaround, and I do not expect that to happen.
Obama, with Obamacare and all this stuff they were spending then, Trump pretty well turned that around almost seemingly overnight. Remember, there was a lot of money back then that was being spent and thrown out. So,
Dave, Obamacare is still an unmitigated disaster.
Well, all right. It's coming. That was the next thing that Trump was going to be doing, is getting rid of Obamacare. And he had his own health care plan delivered to CBS News, the small C, big BS News, to Leslie Stahl in her interview that I've got in clips on my sheet here.
Dave, I would be thrilled if I'm wrong. I would be thrilled if you're right about this thing. You are much more optimistic.
I am an optimist, and I'm not an optimist because I'm that big of a winner. But when I win, I usually win big, like my wife.
Well, that's good.
Like my wifey. That was a big win for me because
I
I was a loser. I was a loser with the other wives that I had, and now I've got a winner. All right, we'll see if this lasts through to the night, but you never know. But I think this one is a winner. She's a keeper.
Thank you.
Well,
dear.
she allowed you to break a toilet, and that concerns me greatly.
I did wreck the toilet.
I was out of the town.
Yeah, that's it, Lisa.
I think we're running low on time. I don't know where's my watch. I don't know. Oh yeah, we got another interview in 10 minutes or so. So,
goofy man.
Lisa, you left Dave unsupervised. Please don't do that again.
Okay, I'm going to tell everybody what happened because you're making it like I threw this thing against the wall and broke it. All right, there I was trying to flush the toilet. Can you say that on there? Yes. And there's a little chain thing that's attached. Well, you can tell because nothing happens when you push the handle. Nothing happened. So I knew what the problem was. I knew the problem was there's a clip that puts the chain onto the lever that pushes up the plug, right, in the tank. So I went to, like everyone else does, pick up the tank top and put it on the wall, like against the wall and against the tank.
No, they don't.
Well, guess what? The thing fell through. The big wide thing that I misunderstood was supposed to hold up the toilet tank top, and it fell.
It holds up the toilet tank top when it's balanced on it.
And blindly, I put that clip together and looked at that thing and said, I'm in trouble.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am. So, and thanks for constantly bringing that up because I can always count on you for good memories.
Dave, it's always good to have some blackmail material on you.
I know. And I got nothing on you. Other than you're an old guy and you're a nice guy and you're hurting my feelings, but anyways, we got to go. Okay, my friend.
Our conversation is done. Always look forward to it on Fridays.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're right on board. You and the rabbi answered within like 10 seconds of the time that I notified you of the show going on, and I thank you for that. You're a loyal friend, and you're great on the show. And I hope your wife gives you a lot of hell today. Anyways, thank you so much for being the opening act on, what did you say?
Oh.
Daylight Savings Time. Opening act.
Yes.
Instead of the rabbi being the opening act. You're still the opening act.
That will work for me, Dave.
All right.
Good day.
Have a great weekend. Hi to the wife. Yeah, so far everybody's gotten applause, and I've got crickets. What are you gonna do? Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Just make me feel even worse than I do. Okay, let's cheer up a little bit. Let's do. Let's see. I know there was one I wanted to do. Let's do Carlin.
Did you ever notice how awful your face looks in a mirror in a restroom that has fluorescent lights? Every cut, scrape, scratch, scar, scab, bruise, boil, bump, pimple, zit, wart, welt, and abscess you've had since birth all seem to come back at the same time. And all you can think of is, I gotta get the out of here!
All right, let's do Reagan now. Let's see if we got one from there, too.
He was called in by his editor and told of a fire that was raging in Palos Verdes. That's a hilly area in the southern part of Los Angeles County. And the photographer's assignment was to rush down to a small local airport, board a waiting plane, go out and get some pictures of the fire, and be back in time for the afternoon edition. Well, he raced down the freeway, broke all the traffic laws, got to the airport, drove his car to the end of the runway, and sure enough, there was a plane revving up its engines, ready to go. He jumped in the plane shouting, "Let's go," and they were off. At about 5,000 feet, he began getting his camera out of the bag, told the fellow flying the plane to get him over the fire so he could get his pictures and get back to the paper. And from the other side of the cockpit, there was a deafening silence. And then he heard those words he will always remember. "Aren't you the instructor?"
Yeah, he was funny. And we got a special treat. We have a news bit flash. We found out who Joe Biden's writer was to write his speeches. So please listen closely because he's a little hard to understand, but he's a great writer. Hit it. That's Joe Biden's writer, ladies and gentlemen.
And his speeches sound just like that too. I mean, he reads them verbatim.
Man, I mean, and he's stealing it from a little book too, and that's Ken Wilhelm, I believe, sent that to me out of Columbia. That is really funny. I don't care who you are. All right, so what did I had some stuff I wanted to talk about. For example, Dinesh D'Souza. His leftists are not going back to Twitter because they were never kicked off. Their lies escaped all scrutiny, and this was liked by Elon Musk and commented by Elon Musk as correct. Isn't that interesting? And now he's going to reconstitute people who were kicked off of Twitter. And so, people like me are not getting banned anymore, although I am being somewhat limited on people I can follow. It's been pretty good lately. And I'm getting a lot of comments on stuff. I think I should be on the board of directors, quite frankly, of Twitter. I think I could help them a lot. What do you think, honey? You think that would be a good idea?
What do you want to do?
Be on the board of director of Twitter? Board of directors of Twitter. I mixed up my S's there.
Well, you're off to a good start. That's for
I
sure.
could become Biden's. I could become his speechwriter if that's
you're
the
off
case.
to a good start.
I could be the assistant writer for Biden's speeches. All right.
You need to work on memorizing the name of the platform.
Yeah,
first.
there you go. All right, well, we're going to find in 2 minutes if the McCluskeys got the message. And I know I had it in writing, and I might have said it, and it might be okay, but I don't remember what I said when I was sleeping. It could have been anything. It could have been, would you go close the front door?
They might be the new permanent co-host of the show. We don't.
Well, they could be, yes. There you go. But that's, what are you going to do? Yeah, I think we ought to do this as Seinfeld Confessions.
Tell me your sins, my son.
Well, I should mention that I'm Jewish.
Well, that's no sin.
Oh, good. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Dr. Watley. I have a suspicion that he's converted to Judaism purely for the jokes.
And this offends you as a Jewish person?
No, it offends me as a comedian. And it'll interest you to know that he's also telling Catholic jokes.
Well...
and they're all jokes. I mean, the Pope and Raquel Welch in a lifeboat.
I haven't heard that one.
Oh.
Are you ready for some tough questions?
You're going to be fair.
I'm going to be fair.
Just be fair.
But you're okay with some tough questions?
No, I'm not.
You're not okay with tough questions?
I want him to be fair. You don't ask Biden tough questions. So. Okay.
You ready? Everybody ready? So we have the pandemic. On your watch, we've had racial strife. We've had looting. Why do you want this job? Why do you want to be president again?
Because we've done a great job, and it's not finished yet. And when I finish, this country will be in a position like it hasn't been maybe ever. The economy is already roaring back, and other people aren't going to bring it back. Certainly the person that we're dealing with is not going to bring it back. They're going to raise taxes.
Let me ask you what you think the biggest domestic priority is for you right now.
Well,
or next
ultimately,
year.
let me, and I'll tell you, it was happening. We created the greatest economy in the history of our country.
You know that's not true.
It is totally true.
No. It isn't. But President Trump did have an impressive string of economic accomplishments.
We had the best stock market price ever, and we're getting close to that price again. The unemployment numbers for African Americans, for Asian Americans, for Hispanic Americans, virtually every number was the best. And what was happening is things were coming together.
Well, I asked you, what's the priority? I mean, those are all the good things. What do you have to
priority
solve?
now is to get back to normal, get back to where we were, to have the economy rage and be great with jobs and everybody be happy. And that's where we're going, and that's where we're heading.
And who is our biggest foreign adversary?
I would say China.
Go right into the song.
We are the champions, my friends. We'll keep on
Fighting to the end. Ladies and gentlemen, lawyers Mark and Patricia McCluskey are the epitome of American dreamers and are willing to risk their lives to protect their home. Please welcome the bravest couple in America, Mark and Patricia McCluskey. Good morning, heroes. How are you?
Very good. Hey, did you have a good Thanksgiving yesterday?
Yeah, it was great. My wife did a lot of work. And I saw a picture of yours.
Doing it.
Yeah, really, I was show prepping. That was my excuse, and I'm standing by it. I did
by watching football. That's how he was show prepping.
Yeah, you have to watch football on Thanksgiving. I mean, that's not American. I even watched a little soccer just to break it up a little bit. Everything I learned from football. I got to tell you that much. So, anyways. What about you? Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
We did. We made 6 times as much food as we could possibly eat, and then we ate it.
We had 7 pots to clean for every person at the table. So, I mean, we had millions of pots.
So did you have a lot of people there?
No.
You did this all for yourselves, and you just stuffed it down?
Our fiance came down from Chicago, and by the way, as what you were saying in the lead, and I didn't realize this, but she was saying that when the mob hit the house that day, that she, after she called 911, she called her boyfriend and said, "We're all going to die right now."
Oh, gee. Who was with you?
Our daughter. She's
your
33.
daughter.
She lives in Chicago.
Oh, God. She was there?
Yeah, she had come in for dinner that night.
Oh, great.
She'd driven in from Chicago to have dinner with us that Sunday night, right before the mob hit. In fact, she was at the grocery store across the street getting the last things for dinner.
I know that grocery store, right next to the Chase Hotel, right?
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. And I called her on her cell when we heard the mob forming, and I said, "Did you get out of Straub's before the mob blocked the road?" She said, I did. I'm on the back side of it. I'm on my way there right now. So she got there right about 5 minutes before
followed the mob in?
I'm sorry?
She followed the mob in?
No, the mob came up Kings Highway. She went down Lindell, so she was already out of the store before the mob got there. In a car.
Yeah.
And so she had gotten to our house maybe 5 minutes before the gate got breached.
Boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. So she was hiding in a closet somewhere probably, huh?
She came up to the top of the stairs and hid behind the sofa.
There you go. Well, it's still an incredible American story. And you're an inspiration. You remind me of Kyle Rittenhouse, who I also think was a younger version of you guys, who did what he had to do. I mean,
and what composure. We were up there for the whole week of the jury deliberations, rooting for him. But when you watch the video, here's this young guy who has a composure to not shoot wildly or anything else, but he picked the targets, only the guys that were actually attacking him.
Yeah.
He had a jam. He used his forward assist plunger to put a around in the gun and just had amazing composure for a young guy under extreme circumstances.
Yeah.
I can't say enough good things about him.
What a soldier he would make,
Oh, yeah.
My goodness. Yeah. And I don't know what the hell I'd do under those circumstances. But, man, and you guys, I mean, you're standing face to face with 350 people who are yelling nasty things.
As our daughter said yesterday when we were reminiscing about it, they were screaming. They were screaming death threats.
Yeah.
She saw guns. She saw just absolute hate in their eyes. And that's like I said, she called her boyfriend and said, we're all going to die right now.
How's your lawsuit going against Cori Bush?
It's I just filed a motion for alias summons to get him served. I was unable to get him served before the election. I was a little busy, and then we're going to kick it into gear now. I can't wait for the opportunity to cross-examine Cori Bush. That'll be fun.
Oh, you're going to be handling the case yourself?
Oh, I wouldn't let anybody else do it. I think it's too much fun.
Well, most lawyers, even lawyers, get lawyers, don't they?
Oh,
usually?
I know. But then again, you have to. Why use a second string?
You remind me a lot of Chuck. Chuck would want to handle his own case too. Chuck Tote being my lawyer, if anyone doesn't know that, who passed away a couple years ago. So if let me ask you this: if Don Jr. had the dirty laptop, do you think the whole Trump family would be in jail?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no question about it. And then to appoint a special prosecutor to look into Trump's dealings on January 6th and on Mar-a-Lago and all this kind of, BS, and then no investigation of Hunter Biden, no investigation of Joe Biden, no investigation of where the money comes from. Yeah, just a question of, like normal people would ask, how is a guy who spent his entire life on the public dole, never making more than $174,000 a year as a senator, and then a couple of years, 8 years as vice president, how does he end up owning millions of dollars worth of houses?
Well, isn't it interesting? You're segueing right into my next question about the Supreme Court decision that Donald Trump has to turn in all his tax returns for the last 6 years or whatever it is.
And to what? To a congressional investigating committee?
Yeah, but
what?
that means now the Supreme Court has put precedent that the Republicans can get Joe Biden's
that's
tax
true.
returns.
That'd be fun. But I mean, the bottom line is, if the IRS doesn't care, it's like the lawsuit in New York against Donald Trump organization alleging that he misrepresented the values of his properties. Well, the banks lent him money.
Yeah,
they were happy with it. The banks got paid back, so they're happy with the result. So, who the heck thinks there's a problem there? Meanwhile, you got a guy who's never made an honest living in his life, who owns millions of dollars worth of houses, and nobody wants to take a look.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's no doubt we don't have it's not even a two-tier system anymore. We have no justice in our country right now.
Yeah, this guy where the federal law enforcement entities are just the Stasi or the KGB. They just work as the enforcement arm of the left.
And this guy who's the special prosecutor, what's his name? Smith?
Yeah,
Jack Smith or something. Yeah, this guy was a guy that was trying to kill the Tea Party off back in the earlier part, about 10 years ago, under the Biden administration, the Obama administration, and he was going through the IRS to try to get these people nailed.
Yeah.
But, same guy. How's that?
And here's a fun thing, right? When Trump was president, they were always accusing him of putting pressure on Bill Barr and putting pressure on the Justice Department to do his bidding, when in fact he did nothing. And here you have the President of the United States actively engaging the Department of Justice to do things unprecedented, like raiding the ex-president's house, investigating the ex-president, all these kinds of things which have never happened before. And meanwhile, while he's as corrupt as any human being on the planet.
And here's that bodes into my criticism of Donald Trump. Here's my criticism of him. He hired people from the swamp. What did he expect to get? Now, he didn't know about Sessions, but Barr, and then Biden gets Garland. I mean, Barr is terrible.
Yeah,
He's a lying jerk.
And you know, we my wife and I differ on Donald Trump in that she thinks she's his mother and he can do no wrong. But from the get-go, I thought he had too much faith in human beings.
Yes.
Too much faith in the integrity of the system as a whole, and he should have gone in there and just fired everybody, clean sweep, replaced every single one of those swamp creatures with somebody he could trust, and move forward. He got harpooned from every direction from his own party. For the first 6 months of his presidency, at least, the entire mechanism of the Republican Party was out to destroy him and do everything they could to pull his teeth.
Yep.
I think part of the problem was he didn't realize how deep the swamp really was. He said he was going to drain it, but he found out later that it was incredibly deep.
He cannot hire anybody from the swamps. So therefore, I've talked to Elad Hakim. You're familiar with him, right?
Yes.
Yes, and you, and both of you want to be his attorney general. Isn't that incredible? Or did you say you wanted to be his attorney general, Trump, when he gets reelected?
No, Dave, I believe you told me that I wanted to be his attorney general.
Well, I want one of you two to do it, and the other one should serve in some capacity in his cabinet and to keep another swamp guy out of it. You know, keep these swamp guys away.
Anybody. Here's the problem, though. Let's look at, for example, how corrupt the whole system is. You get an election, you elect some new senators, you elect some new congressmen, and then they have the vote for leadership before those people are sworn in, so they can't participate.
Yeah, incredible.
And what do you get?
Is.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, right?
Yeah, and that's the way. What's his name? Mitch has been operating for decades. He's been doing this. Very destructive, very self-serving. He had a two-pronged goal, and one of them was to ruin Donald Trump, and the other one was to keep his sorry tookus in leadership.
Yeah,
and he achieved it.
Truth.
He achieved it. So
and you know, and so what? Here's the thing. You know, you're talking about the swamp. This is the way it goes. We've got Eric Schmidt moving in on January 3rd as the new senator.
What do you think?
He's never had a nationwide office. He's he's going to go up there. Lobbyists out the wazoo are going to take him by the arm and say, "This is how we do things up here." And if you want to get reelected, you want to be a senator for the next 35 years. This is how we play the game, and this is who you got to suck up to. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, sure. And he's going to be very tempted, as everybody is. And let's see what it's an open house. He's been successfully suing the Biden administration all through his AG career in the Missouri State House.
Yeah.
So he's I like the guy. I've talked to him. He called me up for money. I thought I gave him some money, but I'm not sure I hit the right buttons. I got to go back to
He called me up for money, so
did he?
But you know, he and Jeff Landry, the Attorney General of Louisiana, have been very active about this. And I've met him. We went down to Dallas together one time. But I'll tell you and your audience a fun story. Jeff Landry does this annual alligator hunt where you go out in the bayou and you shoot your alligator, and he's got the taxidermist and the bootmaker there, and you shoot your alligator and they measure you up, and 6 months later you get a pair of boots out of the alligator that you shot. And so I'm looking at Landry. He's got these outrageous alligator boots on. I said, "You shoot that alligator yourself?" And he says, "I sure did." I said, "Well, how are you having an alligator hunt during COVID?" So he popped it up on his cell phone, and the banner said, Landry's annual alligator hunt protest.
Well, apparently it worked, didn't it? Yeah. You know, other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. We've taken down the campaign website, and we're working on a new one. We're trying to figure out. A lot of folks are asking me if I'm interested in running for Attorney General of Missouri.
Hey,
haven't really made up my mind on that one yet. Sometimes I think I can be more effective in getting the message out there and trying to protect the freedom of this country and restore the Constitution by being a public pundit rather than a public figure.
You know what? Count me in if you're going to do it. Okay.
Okay, I sure will.
You got a supporter right here.
I appreciate it.
I knew a golfer who was so unlucky that when they went to bury him, he lipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark and Patricia McCluskey is Patricia there?
She is.
Patricia, hello. How are you?
I'm good. I got to go clean some pots.
Happy holidays, guys. Thank you.
You too.
You too. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. All right. They're great people. I mean, they're such good interviews, you know. He is so open to stuff, and they you know, and again, he thought he was supposed to be at 10:30. That's probably what I told him. That's kind of what I remember in my fog when he called me back, you know. But I had it right when I sent him the message. I'm not sure he's connected to that message thing, you know. I don't know.
I was having trouble getting it worked to send them the virtual link today, so I'm not sure what the issue was.
But he's a great guest, and I was a little worried about it, so I called him. He was ready to come on at 10:30. I guess I did tell him that, and I do have a 10:30 appointment. So, all right, well, that's the way it is. Right now, I'm free. You guys want to call me? In fact, let's read the board here if we got anything on the board. There we go. All right. Kathy Sanford Dylan, good morning and happy Friday. Hope everyone had a blessed and wonderful Thanksgiving Day, and we did. We were with my wife's family, and nobody talked politics. How about that? And we had one liberal there.
We couldn't. We had two.
Who's the other one?
You know, the boyfriend of the one.
Kevin?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not. I wasn't supposed to say his name, was I?
I wouldn't think so.
All right. Well, whatever. I didn't realize that. I sat with him and watched football. A good portion of the time.
He's a big sports fan.
Yeah, he was a big athlete.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
I think he's broken more helmets than me. And he's got the concussions to show it. And according to Axios, so this is John Jeffrey Bradshaw. We read he spoke about this. Biden's inflation will cost each American family $7,400 this year. How do you like the Biden economy? I feel poor, you know. And I tell you what, these elections are just incredible. Good morning, Tim Owens. Good morning to you. Thank you for saying that. Watching from the Bradshaw compound, Roy Maddox. Is he a dog, or he's got a picture of a dog there? I don't know. Patricia Odin Maxwell, the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Sounding great, looking great. Thanks, Pastor Pat. And she is the official mother to the producer of the show.
Was just there having a very nice Thanksgiving dinner there just last night. So, yep.
Oh, great. All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. And if you got any Thanksgiving stories about how it went, were there any fights? People want to know that stuff. I mean, I was surprisingly, I don't think I mentioned politics to anyone yesterday. Do you remember me saying anything about politics?
I'm guessing you might have talked to my mom a little bit about it.
I don't recall exactly what we said, but I didn't think it was politics.
But no, not during dinner. You were very well behaved.
But your mom is conservative.
We all are, except for the
and
two.
So, I can't say this about all events, but there are certain events that we have spoken politics, and it hasn't always been pleasant. So, and I'm going to another Thanksgiving tonight with my son, my daughter-in-law, and all my grandkids there. In fact, it'll be all my grandkids there, I think, and that'll be fun. So, want to call the show, 573-578-2700. Get it off your chest, or...
Also on Facebook or DaveWeinbaum.net, and I got kind of a cool thing that I saw here that's tied to Thanksgiving. It's on the screen right now. That's somebody put that as a topping on their pie.
Who put that in there?
I saw it on Facebook. So
good, great. unvaccinated, and ready to talk politics. Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Now, we're not going to. Well, that's what we do. We talk politics. There's no doubt about it here. So, CBS, they lied about Trump being spied on and Biden's laptop, and are just now admitting it. Now, these vaccines, I read a book almost 20 years ago to the day by Michael Crichton. And the book was called Prey. I'm pretty sure that's the right book. But I remember this. It was a story about developed little drones that were like the size of insects, bees, flying around, attacking people. And then in this book, they were talking about these nano drones that were developed that invaded bodies. What does that remind you of? Having little, tiny little things that you can't even see invade you in multitudes. What would that be reminiscent of modern day here? Do you know?
Trying to think.
It reminds me of a vaccine shot.
That's kind of what I was thinking about.
They have all these little things in there that they actually have been able to see, and they're moving around and stuff. And that stuff shouldn't be moving around, and it looks like metallic things moving around. That can't be helpful, can it?
There's a new documentary called Died Suddenly.
Yeah.
I haven't got it all the way watched through, but it's talking about there are funeral directors. They're now.
I know I've heard this.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it. Yes. Funeral director. Tell them about
and they're starting to speak out about how ones that have died in the last 3 years, the ones that there's a common connection here, ones that have been vaccinated, they're pulling out strings of blood that are like this. And they said this is not how blood is supposed.
It's called a blood clot.
Yeah, and they're huge.
Yeah, and they're out of their legs and everything.
Everywhere.
Right.
And basically they're documenting how this is the only connection is those that are vaccinated. The ones that are unvaccinated, they don't have those clots when they go through the autopsies and go through to prepare them for burial and all that. They're not finding these. It's only in the vaccinated.
Okay, and then we got to ask the question, well, was this an accident? Was it an accident?
You asking my honest opinion, or?
No, I want you to lie in front of the audience. Of course I'm asking for your honest opinion.
It's not just my opinion. In this movie, they clearly say they believe that this is an orchestrated, worldwide genocide.
See, I think that too. And I think if you look at the films of Dr. Fauci before this happened, and his film of June of I forget what year it was, but it was way before the election. Oh, it was June of 2017, when Trump was just elected, basically months after the inauguration, maybe 5-6 months afterwards, and he was talking about Trump was going to face this massive pandemic, and I'm not sure he knows what he's going to do with it. How the hell did he know back then that there would be a pandemic?
And if he knew that was coming, why were they not prepared better for it?
Well,
then?
There you go. Well,
come on.
Well, he was preparing with the Chinese, with a gift to them of taxpayer money to do this kind of work, this kind of thing in the Wuhan laboratory in China. Now, was it an accident somehow that this was let go across the countries, across Europe, and that the Chinese and the Americans, like Fauci, didn't come back and say there's been a problem before this happened? Remember, when this first started, Fauci was anti-mask. Was that intentional? Did he think masks might work, as he did later and went up to 3 masks at a time that you should wear, which would basically suffocate the average person? I mean, there's a lot to be talked about here, a lot to be answered for, and you have guys like Bill Gates, Microsoft, which I own some stock in, by the way, and he's out there buying farmland left and right, along with China.
And my question is, why is Bill Gates even remotely qualified to discuss anything medically? He's not.
There it is, but he does.
But he does.
And he's been on this list of people that talk about reducing the population of the world.
And
exactly.
part of this Died Suddenly documentary, they talk about how this has been something that's been discussed in the works for generations.
Yeah.
They talked about it years ago, that there was overpopulation and we need to control it.
Sure.
It's go watch it. It's out there.
Yeah, speaking about that, I want to play the clips from Candace. And I want to do the last one first. That's 16, but and I want to put a little thing about Candace. Some people might be saying, "Well, Weinbaum, why are you playing this?" Candace has sort of like showed her cards when she did not go against Kanye. Nor did her husband when he said he's going to go 3 DEFCON against the Jews. Okay? Now, you could say that, and you can't get out of it if you put in the words blacks, if you put in the word Asians. Hey, I'm going 3 DEFCON against the Asians. What does that mean? I'm going to kill Asians? Christians? Muslims? But he decided to put Jews in there, and she acts like she's kind of okay with that. That really bothers me for listening, Candace, which she probably isn't. I've asked her on the show. I have told her that she should be vice president. Now I don't want her because she doesn't seem to understand this. And then she says, well, I work for 2 Jews. I work for Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager. Okay. And they haven't said anything. Well, guess what? Not anymore. Ben Shapiro's come out and said if he had the power to fire her, he would have done it. And I don't understand why he doesn't have the power to fire her. But he says, I like her, but she's dead wrong on this. And I don't know. I've thought about, writing to her and all that stuff, but I just let it go. But she does say some pretty decent things, some pretty interesting things. So play 16, please.
All the country in terms of what the children are learning in the classroom. It is time for parents to take control over their children and to realize the government is trying to step in as the parent, and it's quite frankly inappropriate. And add that to the censorship that's happening. Beyond the bribery, there's the censorship. So people are talking about experiences that they've had with the vaccine. They've had bad reactions. You are not allowed to talk about that. You have doctors that are being censored for giving their honest opinion and their honest assessment about the vaccines, whether or not they perceive them to be necessary for people that are young and that are healthy. We know for a fact that this virus, and this is according to the CDC, does not harm children. And yet you have cities like San Francisco, of course, Democrat-run cities, that rushed and instantly said that in a couple of months they're going to issue mandates for 5-year-olds. You're going to be a 5-year-old in San Francisco. You're not going to be able to walk into a place of business without showing proof of vaccination. I mean, this is unfathomable. This is scary stuff that we're talking about. This is like a dystopian nightmare.
This week, the CDC greenlit vaccines for children as young as 5 years old to get the Pfizer vaccine. And Democrats were more than ready to sign kids up to take the shot. In Chicago, the public school system is giving everyone next Friday off so they can get students vaccinated. And in New York, creepy weirdos like Bill de Blasio are trying to bribe our kids with cold, hard cash.
Good news, kids are eligible for the $100 vaccine incentive. So we really want kids to take advantage, families to take advantage of that. Everyone could use a little more money around the holidays.
Meanwhile, Pfizer, the company that produces the vaccine, is telling kids that getting the shot makes you a superhero.
This year, thousands of kids like us around the world joined the COVID-19 vaccine trial. Kid power. And when they did, they became all superheroes. Ah! To all the kids who volunteered, we'd like to say, thank you! Thank you!
enough of talking to my kids about medications and vaccines. Talk to me. I'm the parent. Give me the information.
That's exactly right, and this should make every parent extremely uncomfortable. There's something about this that feels like a child's predator approaching your child, right? This is the stuff that you learn about when you say, take your child, you're going to the playground. If a stranger comes up to you and says, here's some candy, you don't listen to this, right? Because that's not a good incentive. An adult should not be coming to you and trying to bribe you to do anything, especially when we're talking about medical decisions that belong to the parents. There's something else that's going on here, though, because aside from making people uncomfortable, there is something, an undercurrent here that to me appears evil and appears sinister. And I always say there's nothing new under the sun. That's a biblical proverb. There's nothing new under the sun, and that's always real. We can always look to history to see where these things come from. This is so reminiscent to me of when I studied Stalin youth programs, Hitler youth programs. When you're talking about schools and the government issuing these brainwashing doctrines down to say to children, it's okay, do this or do that. It's because they're trying to raise up children to do whatever the state wants unquestioningly.
Temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Kent's Jewelry does custom engravings for almost anything. Awards, signs, guns, swords, mugs, yetis, and knives. Kent is the premier custom jeweler in mid-Missouri. We have a great staff, the technology, and equipment to create what you dream for, jewelry and engraving. Kent's Jewelry, 907 North Pine, downtown Rolla, 573-364-1030. That's 573-364-1030. Locally owned. Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping, too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we're back. I wanted to say something about Candace Owens, and while her clips were very interesting, about these kids being bribed and forced to take these vaccines that are totally unproven. Your kids are guinea pigs. And that's what we all were, guinea pigs. I bet you if my best friend, Dave O'Reilly, who was my banker as well, if there was an autopsy taken, I'm pretty sure he'd have these blood clots all over him. And, because he died fairly suddenly after taking the first part of the vaccine. I think it was Moderna, but I'm not sure. So, and we have other people. We have people in the family that have died suddenly from this. Lisa's got a brother-in-law. My daughter-in-law, Brenna, her two uncles died suddenly. Our butcher at where we shop sometimes at Kroger's, he's gone all of a sudden. I had to ask. I says, "What did he die from?" He says, "We're pretty sure it was the shot." These are his fellow workers. And it's now been admitted by the CDC that 56 more people who were vaccinated are dying than the people who weren't vaccinated at all. And you can't let your kids do. The kids, they don't get the COVID. They might be getting this other flu-like respiratory disease.
Yeah, RSV's going around. Yeah.
But they get a vaccine for COVID. They manipulated this somehow.
They tried to tell us at the beginning of the school year. We were about 2 weeks in, and they said, "We noticed that your two of your kids that are in elementary school, they're not vaccinated." We said, "No, they're not." And they said, "Well, they have to be vaccinated against COVID to come to school." And we said, "Oh, that's fine. We anticipate this could happen. We've already got plans set up.
Yeah.
So that's fine. We'll be pulling them out of school and all that and stuff, so no problem."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, well, there is a exemption form you can sign, and then that way they don't have to get the shot. Really? But do you think if we hadn't made that stand, that would have been brought up? Of course not.
Well, why didn't they bring it up? Shouldn't that be part
It should have
of the
been,
law?
but that was never brought up until we talked about pulling them out of school.
See, this is constitutional breaking right here.
It was never a thing of, well, we want them to get it, but if you don't feel comfortable, here there is a form to exempt them.
Right.
That was not brought up until we talked about pulling them out.
Okay, let's see. What else we got here? Have we played Weinbaum music in a while? We haven't. Oh, you know what? I think we ought to play ivermectin because that's another thing. People were told never take ivermectin. They were told not to take a lot of things at work. Hydroxychloroquine. I am shocked that I remembered that. word, that is really a good sign for my mental capacity. Maybe Joe Biden should start remembering words like that. He's 80 now.
Well, you know, we have connection now to the speechwriter, so we can try to see if they can be working on that with him.
Yeah. Of course, he probably won't understand it, but no, the kid would, but not him. That was a great bit, wasn't it? That was funny as hell. We got to keep playing that one. Anyways, let's do ivermectin. Ivermectin, I take it by the pill. Ivermectin, the pandemic it will chill. Ivermectin, I let it take its course. Ivermectin, now I'm neighing like a horse. Okay, so I thought that sounded pretty good. Now apparently that's my own tune too, because I can't find anybody who has a tune like that. Sometimes I put my words in somebody else's music, but I thought I sounded pretty darn good. Really,
it's a lot better than I can do. I can't sing, so
neither can Dave.
I'm trying to work with a song right now that's from Shrek, and it's called "I'm a Denier." You know. I'm a denier.
From the Unbeliever. Yeah, okay, yeah.
I'm a denier. I'm not a liar. You know? So that's the next song I'm going to work on.
Once you have it ready, then we can record that one. And
yeah, well, could be next week.
I want to thank you for the warning on that.
I don't like your tone. I don't like your
I don't like your tone deafness.
Your attitude was...
I don't like that talk.
There you go. And there you go. And as you speak... Look who appears. Anyways, we're going to talk to him in a minute, but she was going to race me down the hall. And so I get out the door, and she's 3/4 down to the bathroom, you know, and
Dave's just shutting the door.
Then I get out of the men's room, and it's right next to the ladies' room. Surprise, surprise. And she's just getting out, so I ran all the way back. I don't have a heart attack, thank goodness. And I whooped her butt, didn't I? I whooped her little butt. Anyways, we have a guy, and I think we're playing his song. What the hell? He's ready. Looks like he's ready. He looks like he's mad. Look at him smile a little way, for God's sakes. Ladies and gentlemen, Powerhouse, South Florida lawyer, expert at law and politics, pundit found all over the internet, star of TV and radio, and the Perry Mason to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Please welcome all the way from Boca Raton, Elad Hakim. Good morning, sir. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thanks. How was it?
It was really nice.
Now, I've been asking all morning if anyone has talked politics during the Thanksgiving feast.
I did.
Huh? You did?
I did.
You did?
I bring it up.
Really?
Well, listen, it was with Amy's family.
Some of them are liberals, right?
No, I don't think so. The ones that we were with, were not. I don't have lunch or I don't have anything with liberals.
So you have closed yourself down, shut yourself down from people who dissent with you on politics. You don't like to argue with people that I love arguing with them. When they,
it's different. It's different arguing with them and befriending them. You can argue on Twitter. You can argue whatever you want.
Yeah.
But I have. I mean, I'm pretty selective. Everyone's different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind until they just stop. They start doing just total insult stuff. And then he says, well, you know what? I have better things to do.
It's just a different system of values, and I don't have any need for it, and I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people disagree with me, but yeah, I am, I choose to deal with people who are more like-minded and more conservative. And that's, my prerogative, and that's what I do.
See, you're a smooth lawyer. You are capable of saying a lot of words very smoothly. I am not that way. I need practice. And when I'm arguing with a liberal, it's buoying up my ability to speak and to object. See, I have to work on this. You don't. You're a natural.
No, but I'm on the air with you. I don't necessarily always have to be as smooth, and I'm not as smooth when I'm not talking, on the air. It's just human nature.
So you're trying to saying you're smoother than me on the air. Well, that's true because I have to work at it.
I think you're very smooth on the air, although I've never seen you on the air with someone who doesn't align with you politically.
I've done that, which is fine until they start swearing at me on air or doing other things on air, and then I shut them down. They can't have that, kind of stuff. Even though, as a podcast, I can do it and get away with it.
Before, when we had the show that was syndicated on radio, then we had to cut any of that out. We had to, we couldn't have it. FCC regulation. Yep.
Right. So I understand that.
Did people really curse at you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've had the F-bomb dropped on air and some pretty animated talk.
But you're an athlete. I mean, you've played sports, and I'm an athlete. I play sports. I've had people curse at me all the time. My parents used to curse at me, so I'm kind of used to it. So what are you going to do? Hey, as long as we're talking here, Supreme Court has demanded that Trump must turn over his tax returns. What does this mean about all former and current presidents?
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, Democrats are hailing this decision, and which is fine. I'm not going to question the Supreme Court, but it does now open the possibility that the Republican-led Congress is now the Republican-led House, is now going to turn around and seek the same type of documents from the current president. I think that it's going to be much harder to argue against such disclosure in light of the Supreme Court's opinion. What goes around comes around. It's fine. You want Trump's tax returns? I mean, I don't know what they plan on finding.
What's the purpose? I think they're looking for anything at this point, don't you?
But, it's going to be interesting to see, if they do request Biden's returns, for example, whether there's pushback. I mean, I assume there's going to be, but it's interesting why Democrats would be so gung-ho about getting Trump's returns and then, presumably argue against disclosing Biden's. We'll see. But that's what this opinion does. It opens the door for them now to seek it.
What is your knowledge of the person that has now been appointed as a special prosecutor against Donald Trump, and what is the specific mission of this person? As stated, we know what the purpose is probably, but how do they state what they're doing?
Well, listen, what I've learned about him is that he's quite radical, and that he has a history behind him of pushing against conservatives, for example. And I'm sure you know this. He was apparently involved with the Lois Lerner IRS scandal, where conservative groups were targeted by the IRS, and then he also prosecuted someone who was a presumptive Republican nominee for president, and he prosecuted him on these made-up theories, and was actually overturned 8-0 by the Supreme Court. That doesn't happen very often. I think Scalia had passed away by the time the opinion came out, or it probably would have been 9-0.
Who was the guy? Who was the guy he was suing?
I don't remember the guy's name, but he was McDonald. I forgot what state he was out of.
It could have been McConnell because he's still there.
But he prosecuted him, and it was reversed, but 8-0. So suffice it to say, he's, this is crazy, Dave. This is politics at its worst.
Yeah.
And then people, I've had people respond to me, well, Garland had to appoint him once Trump disclosed it. That's nonsense. Okay. Yeah. That is nonsense. If there was an apparent conflict, Garland could have referred to a special master, a special counsel before Trump announced. And, is there no inherent conflict where when Garland is allegedly investigating the son of his boss, are you trying to tell me, why is there no special counsel appointed now for that?
Well, if there was one, he'd be a guy like the guy that's investigating Trump as special prosecutor, who would either charge him with something stupid and minor just to keep the Republicans from interviewing the guy under the thing that he's under a certain indictment for some kind of BS act.
It's really, it's just so, what's happening is so unfortunate and so sad and so politicized. And it's, listen, it's difficult. The other thing is, with the special counsel now, I just wonder whether the special counsel is going to get all the information from the January 6th committee, which should go by now, and then keep it under seal, so to speak. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting ploy if they try that. That's going to be very interesting because now you got the special prosecutor going up against the House Republicans who are going to demand that stuff. Or maybe even start their own 1-6 committee. That's what I think maybe they ought to do. And just they can't stop them from doing that, can they?
No, Republicans can do what they want now in the House, and they can decide not to fund the special prosecutor because Republicans really are in control of the money. The House really decides the money, but it's just it's unfortunately politicized. It's weaponized, and we'll see what happens with it. It's just relentless. They're not going to stop.
I've had two politicians say that if the elections in Arizona aren't done over, let's put it that way, and done over honestly, we're never going to have elections again in this country that are meaningful. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the specifics of what is happening in Arizona as far as what they're recommending. I mean, by saying, and maybe you can tell me, but by saying do them over, what are they proposing? I mean, let's assume they're done over. How do they?
Well, you had from what Jeff Zink has told me, he was one of them, and he's telling me that the Maricopa County had 50 machines that were broken down during the voting. And the voting which was a bad strategy, but still was, the thing was that the Republicans showed up on voting day. And they were pushed out. They were made to wait for 3 or 4 hours. They were told to put their ballots underneath some machine and they'd count them later. And it was there's other things involved, and they can prove right now that this thing was a fraud. They can prove it. Okay,
but what are they proposing to do differently?
Essentially, from what he talked about was that they would not certify the election and go for basically a brand new election to happen soon.
And four counties have said that we're not going to approve the election. They have to certify the elections.
But guys, assuming there's a new election.
Yes.
What is going to be different that would prevent this from just repeating itself?
I don't know. It's a good question because, first of all, you have to certify the machines, and now the machines they're saying are uncertifiable. They didn't work. They didn't have the right ink in it. You had the person that was running the elections was running for governor, and she herself won over Carrie Lake, and they've got. They even found, according to Jeff Zink, that they had used people who should not have voted in the 2020 vote, the same people, on having ballots in this election, like felons and all that stuff. So they did the same drops with probably the same mules out there. How the GOP let this happen again is beyond me, quite frankly. But then again, they did it apparently in Philadelphia. I don't know if it's legal there or not, but if you watch the Oz-Fetterman debacle and watch the debate, you would have to say to yourself, how did this guy get elected? Well, he was already elected before they had the debate, basically. Early voting. So
yeah, Philip, the Pennsylvania was really embarrassing. I didn't think that Oz was. I was never a big Oz supporter, but the fact that he lost to Fetterman it's an embarrassment.
It's inexplicable.
So look, I agree with your guests that have said that the elections are they're basically look, if they don't fix things, it's easier said than done, but if they don't fix things and learn to play the same game or learn to play the same games that the Democrats are doing, again, we talked about it last time. For example, if courts are deeming certain practices legal or they are refusing to invalidate them, then why should Republicans not do it?
Bingo.
So if they don't start playing the same games, they're never going to win. It doesn't matter.
It becomes the rules. So, look, I play golf, all right? And some guys cheat. And, okay, fine. But if I'm playing competitive golf, I'm going to cheat as much as the guy next to me who's cheating. Okay? Now, that might not be honest, but it's the only fair way I can think of to even the playing field. It's like giving a football team, the Miami Dolphins, if you want to get close to you, 14 points every single game they play to start the game, and the other team nothing.
Although
It's exactly like
NFL,
that.
So that's
well, you're a soccer guy. I watched the World Cup yesterday in your honor, part of it, and just watching. I don't know who won the game with Brazil. Who won that game?
Brazil won.
Brazil won. Okay, but it was kind of interesting. Of course, to me it's a little boring, but you're a soccer guy, and if they gave Brazil 2-0, 2 points to begin with, the equivalent of 14 points maybe in a football game, every game, that wouldn't be fair. They're not going to lose.
No, listen, I am not an advocate of cheating. I am an advocate of playing the same game so long as courts are not ruling it. If courts are saying there's nothing wrong with what you're doing, then I don't understand why Republicans aren't doing it. They're getting killed. And your point is good. I'm not a supporter of early voting. I don't know why this country cannot just have voting on voting day, election day. Okay. Get people in to vote, make it a national holiday. All right. And, for some people who show a tremendous need, or for those who are overseas, military, then you can vote by mail.
Right.
But otherwise, for God's sakes, why can't the most developed country in the world, all right, and go to paper ballots? Okay.
Bingo.
The machines, by the way, are even more difficult than paper ballots. Just go get a paper ballot and vote on election day.
Well, but the machines are are able to be manipulated.
Yeah,
and connected to the internet when they claim it can't be connected to the internet.
But that's a whole separate issue. You're talking about somebody. Let's assume you're talking about somebody in their 80s and they're going to vote. It's not exactly the easiest thing. Technology may not be as easy for them. Just taking a piece of paper and a pencil and filling in your vote and doing it on election day. so long as they don't do that, then yeah, Republicans have to get out and vote early, because Arizona is a perfect example of this. You go on election day, the machines miraculously don't work, and then what happens? Then you're screwed because your vote doesn't count.
And who's in charge of the machine? Who's in charge of the election? The one that's running for governor.
Whether or not you can assume that your vote as a Republican is going to count if you vote early is a whole other story. Because God knows what's going on with that. But the Republicans have to learn, and they're just, I don't know, Dave, they're always a step behind. They're always reactionary instead of proactive.
Yeah. It's like the forward pass in football. You know, I made this analogy last week. In 1906, President Theodore Roosevelt made a proclamation that the football should have forward passing to avoid all the contact deaths they were suffering in professional football. And, they had these little leather helmets on, no face masks, no nothing. The guys were dying left and right because of the hard-hitting, head-against-head contact. And so there were some guys that said, well, we're not going to do the forward pass. That's not football. Could be Trump. It could be Trump.
Nah.
No, okay. Well, I mean, you're going to be the Attorney General, anyways. You know what? I got your main competitor off. You know why? I talked to Mark McCluskey earlier, and he told me he's going to run for the same spot that Eric Schmidt was in, the now Senator Eric Schmidt, and be the AG of Missouri. So I got you off the hook.
Schmidt is awesome.
Yeah, isn't he? Yeah. Well, we'll see. Because he says, he's going to be a senator. He's going to get hit with the lobbyists who are going to tell him you have to do this, you have to think this way, and you have to vote that way, and here's some money. You see, that's the way it works. Let's see how he does when he gets into that pool of swampness. The swampy bowl. I forgot what I was talking about in the first place. Who cares? Who said if you're right and you know it, speak your mind. Speak your mind. Even if you are a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. You don't get any extra points for saying it in the middle of me asking.
Oh, wait. Are you asking me?
Yes. No.
That's ballsy.
Yes. Okay.
That's me. I posted that.
You don't think? Oh, hello.
I know.
Okay.
I know the way you function. You're very well prepared.
Well, that's a kind thing for you to say, because as a lawyer, that's what you have to do. You got to be well prepared. Now, my point about the elections is that either we're going to straighten this thing out, or we're going to have to put up with it and be second-class citizens and beg for their mercy, or there's going to be a revolution like is going on right now in Iran. Now that thing is loading up. It's not, you think they're all powerful and everything in Iran. They put it down 10 years ago, but right now, I'm not so sure they're confident that they're not going to overthrow the Iranian, the mullahs.
Well, the people of Iran are not representative of the regime there. Many of the people of Iran don't have that, most of them don't have that attitude. They just want peace. Listen, you could always hope.
Isn't that a fair connection to us right now in Iran? What is happening in Iran right now?
Well, listen, God forbid the U.S. ever becomes like that. I mean, people in Iran are murdered and slaughtered, and so the U.S. isn't like that. But
yet,
your point is well taken that
they start throwing people in jail because of politics.
Yeah, I mean,
it ain't far away. It ain't far away. That's the first step.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, if things continue down this road, the people in America are not going to sit idly by. I mean, it's, they're not going to be pawns to the government. So let's hope it doesn't get that way. We took a good first step. We control the House. Too bad we don't control the Senate, but that was a close call anyway. We'll see what happens in 2024.
See, Mark Levin did a analysis of that, and he says we would be lucky if we got one over the majority in the Senate because the Democrats had a big advantage then because they had a lot more incumbents than the Republicans. In 24, when you eventually become the Attorney General of the United States of America, that is going to be a Republican advantage because it's going to be 24 Republicans who have the advantage. There's going to be 24 seats of Democrats come open and about 11 seats for the Republicans. So they're going to have a huge advantage coming up in the Senate.
I don't know it's really hard to gauge where America is when you don't necessarily get a fair representation. So, you know what I mean? Like you can say, I can't believe that Americans just didn't vote out all the Democrats. But in reality, because of all the election-related fiascos, we don't really know. It's hard to tell. Like, don't you sit back and sometimes ask yourself, how the hell did anybody in their right mind vote in support of the administration that's going on, what we're seeing right now?
You see, that's why I'm a believer in the thrown elections. There's no logic to it. When Twitter reinstated Donald Trump, he was showing about 88 million supporters. Joe Biden, as president now, who has never been banned by Twitter like Trump, still only has about 26 million followers. I think that was very close to the actual vote in 2020. That's my opinion. And it's based on a lot of things that I've seen, evidence-wise, a lot of the things that were hidden from the public, like the Hunter Biden laptop that was taken out of social media, the 50 CIA agents, intel agents that swore the Hunter laptop was a Russian hoax. Right. See, that's the kind of thing that makes me think that the election was not legitimate, even from that angle. Not just what the machines may or may not have done, what was done in when you had 6 swing states stop the election at once, sort of like what they did again right now in Arizona. They stopped the election. Why? What happened in Florida? Your governor got rid of the jerks that were cheating. He got rid of them before the election. That was DeSantis. And you counted what, 7 or 8 million votes in about 6 hours?
Yeah, Florida's a good example. Not to say that there probably wasn't cheating here, but Florida's a good example for the rest of the country. But keep in mind, again, Florida is red.
Well, now it is.
Florida's red.
All the Republicans left New York and moved in on you.
Yeah. I mean, and you got to give DeSantis credit where credit is due.
Oh, yeah.
And, people are all kind of all over me because I don't think that he should run for president, and I think that he will lose to Trump. It has nothing to do with DeSantis as a governor. He's a phenomenal governor. I just don't think he's, first, I'm a true Trump supporter, and I just don't think DeSantis is ready yet to be president.
Okay, so that brings us back to vice president for Trump, because I agree. We need Donald Trump back. He's the only guy that can really. He has the chutzpah to be able to do this and do it quickly, turn it around quick. I don't know how quick he could do it, but he did it once already. He did it twice, actually.
And not only does he have the chutzpah, he has the courage to withstand.
He's not afraid of anybody.
And that is a big deal.
Yeah. He's probably the toughest American president since Washington, in my opinion. Who's tougher? Lincoln? I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know who has been exposed to what he's been exposed to.
Yeah.
So as vice president, I don't know. Some people have thrown Kerry Lake, as a possible choice.
Okay. What do you think of that?
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think so too.
That would be interesting. What makes me have a little bit of hesitation is how much does she appeal a lot to women, or is she too similar to Trump in some of her ways? I don't know.
She does have some similarity to Trump. She's a tough, no nonsense kind of person.
Absolutely.
Who calls it like it is, and she's not backing down in Arizona either. So, what about Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the next name I was going to put out.
Really?
There.
Yeah. Okay.
Look, the bottom line is, he's going against the establishment now. He's going against the Democrats. He's going against the media. He's going against social media, and he's got to win independents. And I'm telling you something. He's got to stop talking about the stolen election. He's got to stop talking about 2020.
He did when he announced his announcement for presidency. He did.
In general, he's got to stay. If I was advising Trump, if I was like his PR guy, I'd say, listen, stay presidential, stay focused on the issues that are affecting Americans and how you can improve them, and distinguish how you will help them more than what's currently going on, and steer clear of 2020. People know about 2020. They know your position on 2020. It's important to kind of remind them a little bit, okay, we don't want to see a repeat of 2020, so go out and vote, but steer clear of it. It's divisive. People don't want to hear about it anymore. And
all right, we got your opinion on that. I want your opinion on Twitter. Musk is to reveal the collusion Twitter had with the DOJ over the censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop. What do you think? He's gonna go into the actual conversations. This could be a lot of fun.
He's got some cojones.
I'll tell you what, doesn't he? And he's under investigation too. What a surprise!
He's under investigation. I mean, who isn't under investigation?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I'm not. I probably am somewhere.
Everybody
don't even
who
know
should be isn't, and everybody who shouldn't be is.
Well, there's no doubt about. Well, that's how they get away with it. They do it out of what are you doing? I'm
getting stuff ready for
you. Scared me. Okay, because we have the other. This is a. Are you going to stay on with your wife?
No, I've got we have a guy coming to clean our dryer ducts, our dryer vents.
Oh, okay, that's more important than staying on with your wife. I can tell you that. All right, so and by the way, he has agreed. Musk has agreed to give amnesty for some of the people he got rid of by banning them, as he's done Trump. Now, Trump has not tweeted or anything yet, but we'll see. I think that would be great, wouldn't you?
I'm not sure he can.
What do you mean?
I'm not sure he can because of some sort of agreement or duty he has to those who are part of truth.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's fair.
But I want to see, Dave, if Republicans push forward hard and aggressively on all these promises that they've made, not that they control the House.
And I want to see that too. Because it has to be, at least that's the one thing they got out of this, is the ability to show the American people the truth, the absolute truth. And they got to do it. And by the way, I'm a little curious about Nancy Pelosi. I'm actually a little surprised that she quit. What's she hiding? Is she hiding something?
I don't know what she's hiding. I don't want to even hear her anymore. So
well, they're going to call her up to they have to call her up in these investigations if at least part of it's going to be about 1/6, because they're going to be using that to get rid of Trump. So now we could have our own 1/6 investigation, although really Biden has made himself so susceptible to foreign control that who knows who's controlling this guy. China, Russia, Iraq, I don't know. Do you?
I don't know. Listen, if Dave Weinbaum doesn't know, I certainly don't know.
You are really a nice guy, and you treat me so well. Honey, are you listening to this?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
That's all
other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people find you and hire your sorry tookus? Oh, I didn't mean that. No, he's a great lawyer.
I've been
Stop
called
it.
worse. Find me at Thoughtfully Conservative.
Finally, somebody good-looking on the show. There you go. Other than my wife. Oh, God. Almost did it again.
On Facebook, and Elad Hakim at Twitter, and just look me up otherwise.
Santa, I love the smell of your pipe. Mrs. Claus is so pretty. Have you lost weight? Your toys are really cool this year. Rudolph's cousin, Larry the brown-nosed reindeer. Ladies and gentlemen, Elad Hakim.
I recognize that from Twitter.
I know. See, you recognize it. That was in, I actually got that in Reader's Digest. Long time ago.
Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Shabbat
you too.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And we're up with the better half of the Hakim residency. And we're going to play her song.
Hi, Amers. Bye.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time to stand and say, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died who gave that right to me. And I'd gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
I'm getting goosebumps. It's too cold in here or something. I don't understand. Every time I listen to that and really listen to it, it becomes more and more relevant. Now, who sang that just now?
I did.
You did, yeah. All right. Well, that's amazing.
Thank you.
Do you ever get offers to go out and do that song in front of, let's say, a football game or a baseball game? You should.
I would love to do that.
Oh my God! I think you ought to do that.
Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. I think you'd be great at it. Bad boss expert, author, motivational speaker. She loves social media. Singer, MIA dissenter, future Trump head of happiness under pressure. Please welcome the official shrink to Dave Weinbaum. I mean, the Dave Weinbaum Show. Dr. Amy Cooper Hakim, PhD. PhD. Okay, so you're the one person I don't have to prepare much for, because I want to hear what you have to say about stuff, because you're smart enough to see the problems that are out there and know the events that are taking place and recommend how you should feel about them. And that's quite a thing. Okay, I mean, we should all have that talent, but we don't. But how was your Thanksgiving?
It was really nice. It was really, really nice. We spent time with my brother and mom and family. It was really nice.
So was there any political talk at the table?
Oh my gosh, yes.
There was?
But it wasn't from me, and everyone's on the same side. It was just more,
Now, I was thinking at one point your family was a little liberal, but they're not.
Well, I have a great Aunt Evie who is 100 years old.
Yeah, wow.
Great Aunt Evie is from the old school Democratic Party, and she is a very proud Democrat, and she's great.
So you didn't invite her?
No, she
just
doesn't.
Gosh.
She can't travel at this point.
Yeah, okay.
She's down in Miami. She's lovely. But so we do have side of my mom's family that is still Democratic, but many have shifted over the years.
Shifted into a little bit closer to conservative, or what?
Well, to the Republican side, because I think that the Democratic Party in general is so much more to the left than it used to be. It used to be more central, where you could have of course, when Elad's on, there's no noise.
Hey, Elad, will you be quiet? Shut the dogs up, for goodness sakes, and quit stealing your wife's time. Can he hear me? Oh,
I can hear you now.
Can he hear me? I'm yelling at him.
Our dog lets us know whenever anyone is at the door, and my office is smack by the front door. So.
That was just one dog? Sounded like a...
And it's one dog, and she doesn't stop, so she'll calm down in a moment.
There you go. So does she come in the room and sit with you in the office and stuff?
It's actually really sweet. So a tidbit, I am not an animal person, and I appreciate animals. It's just I happen to have allergies and not my thing. And Elad actually gave away his pet cat when we met and I knew it was true love. I didn't ask him. He gave the cat away because I couldn't. I just couldn't be around the allergens at all, like the fluffiness. And anyway, so we have a dog, and that was my concession to him when we got married. And he hit his 30th birthday, and then we've always had a dog with us. And a slew of other animals at different points. But I'm not really such a dog person.
Yeah.
Bailey, our newest, is about a year old. And for some reason, I actually have a nice connection with this animal. She understands me, doesn't howl and bark at me, sits calmly on the chair next to my desk.
No kidding.
We just coexist.
What kind of a dog is it?
She's called a teddy bear. I don't know. It's a mutt of some sort.
Really?
Very cute. Really, really, really cute. And actually looks just like Elad.
No, that's funny right there. I don't know if you meant that to be funny, but that was pretty funny. I don't care who you are.
I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, send me a picture. Yeah.
I'm serious. They have similar, like the placement of the eyes. It's just the same. Don't you think that dogs sort of look like their owners?
Do I? I don't know. I mean, we have a beautiful dog right now. Her name is Gracie. And what kind of a dog? She's like a red heeler combination with beagle.
She's a mix. Yeah.
But she is so beautiful. I mean, her face is beautiful. She's got little white eyelashes that stick out, and beautiful eyes and coloring. It's brownish red and white.
So when you get home tonight, you should look the dog in the face and see which one of you she looks most like.
Well, she's certainly
That's the true owner.
She's certainly a pretty dog, so it has to be my wife.
Aww.
So I just called her a pretty dog. No, that's not good, is it?
One of the nicer things you've said
really.
To me,
and then but she had this other dog. No, she's a farm girl. She's a she used to work cattle and things like this. And I mean, literally got. We were talking about this last night at Thanksgiving. She literally got butted over a fence by a bull, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, over a fence.
Over a tall fence.
Did you break a leg or something, or what?
No, but I was a super athlete for that one moment, escaping that charge.
Yeah, I'll bet you.
Yeah.
I'll bet you.
Well, good for you.
But she had a dog named Oscar that she had for 14 or 15 years, and he was a real blue-tip heeler. Very smart dog, and he passed away a couple years ago, and he just disappeared one day.
And it was this time of the year. Remember,
this time of the
Thanksgiving.
Year. Yeah.
2016.
Yeah, he died. So
I'm
we never found him. We never found him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Elad's
he's
doing a great job keeping that dog down.
This is our animal night, animal day with the dog. Sorry about that.
Right.
But we actually have always had some type of animal. Growing up, I just had I have allergies to furry animals, but then I've also had experiences where we had this crazy dog when I was a kid. I would watch TV down in our basement. I lived in Maryland. And the dog would do this running leap down the basement stairs and then claw and hang on to the back of my neck. And I just, even today, talk about chills. When I think of that, it just freaks me out. And I think that combination with just sneezing and not particularly loving animals puts me into the corner of, I like them from afar. But I do think that they're pretty.
Well, this Gracie she's a little wild. She likes to jump on you, but she's so excited to see you. So she's a little bit high. She's a little bit high maintenance in that accord, but she seems to be smart. She's an outdoor dog. We don't let her really inside the house, and so she's always prowling. We got about about an acre here.
Yeah.
In our house, yeah.
But she has heated and air conditioned.
And she has access
in the basement.
To the basement, right? Right.
How do you do that?
Right.
In the basement.
No, she has access to getting in, and but it's a room downstairs in the basement, and there's water down there for her.
And a
She
crate.
can go in there anytime in a crate, stuff like that. I used to think think crates were bad for dogs.
They love
and
them.
they do love them. Yeah,
they love them.
By the way, Dave, that speaks to, I think, human nature as well. We don't want to be boxed in, but we need to have some type of boundaries that are set in order for us to feel comfortable. And so that crate for a dog is that same kind of a concept. It's understanding that they have their own space and they can go there and be safe. So it's not feeling caged; it's feeling safe. And so I don't want to go there because I know there's some political implications of.
Well, yeah, that's see, liberals will say, let him out of jail. He's injured, put him in jail, wouldn't they?
Oh, I am so worried about this next generation. Our oldest is going off to college. I want to make sure that they're able to speak their mind, that they're able to speak so freely. Yet also, how do we make sure that we maintain respect, yet not, bend to a side that we don't agree with? And it's such a fine line that we walk. And I feel like, I don't necessarily agree with much, certain sides of certain things, extreme to the left or to the right, but I try to tolerate. And I think if we could create an environment where we tolerate other ideas, where we tolerate other perspectives, even if we disagree, we'd be such a better functioning society. We need difference. We need people to argue with us so that we can then come to either a firmer understanding of what we initially believed, or perhaps come to some new idea, some new understanding of something, because we then work together to collaborate and build on one another.
That's perfectly said. That is great stuff right there. That's perfectly said. Listening to other people and finding out if what they're saying is merits, doing some research on what they're saying to find out whether or not they might be right about certain things. And hopefully they do the same with what I say.
Exactly. It's got to go both ways.
Yeah.
And the problem is, what happens is we decide to be very loud, very vocal when we have our strong opinion. And we have 2 ears for a reason. One mouth, 2 ears, right? We should be doing more listening than talking, but we don't often do so. And I just think that it's so important to take pause and say, sometimes I may not know the right answer. Sometimes someone may know more than me, and sometimes I may be able to better myself or my ultimate path by listening to others. Either saying this is something I want to do, or this is something I want to stay very far away from because I so strongly disagree with it.
The problem is when there's a non-factual argument and then it gets into emotions. And, I try to avoid that myself even, and I like to fight, but fighting over ridiculousness is, what I know is not true, is ridiculous. Somebody has a new idea about a concept that I've expressed one opinion of based on facts that I have. If I want to know if they have facts that I don't have.
Right. And the problem is, so we take the social media buzz and hype, and we see that people run on things that are not true. Forget politics, anything. You see it, it's shiny and bright. You say, oh, this is the new whatever. And you say, this has got to be truth. And so we have this next generation accepting whatever they see on TikTok, whatever, this is the way to do it. This is the new, my kids tell me, oh, I have a life hack. This is the new thing with this. I have a life hack for. I have my daughter got a bug bite. And so all of a sudden she had toothpaste all over her leg. Why? Because that's what TikTok told her to do, to put toothpaste on her bug bite. I guess that's the new version.
Oh, a
of
bug bite.
lotion.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But so I don't know, that wasn't going to hurt her. So we didn't, but the idea of using the proper sources to confirm that we know what is true is actually true is where we need to go.
Yeah.
Right. We need to be able to just not say, oh, this person says it and he or she looks like a guru, so I'm going to follow that advice. Rather, let's do a little bit more research. And so I think people are so quick to jump to say this is the truth without actually doing that research or confirming that it's coming from a reliable source. It's really a scary, scary situation. And I'm worried for this next generation.
Sure. And I worry about when I was a kid growing up, I used to have so much respect for judges and lawyers and politicians even. And I used to think, wow, these people are smart. I should listen to them. And then I began to really kind of research stuff and found out maybe you shouldn't listen to them as much as you do. Because a lot of them are wrong based on what you've read and what you understand now. You can see where they're wrong. And so that's going to be a challenge for them to stand up and say, I respectfully object to that way you're saying it, and here's the reason. Can your kids be able to do that?
See, and that's the thing that I'm so concerned for them, because if you are getting a grade for your paper and your professor has a particular opinion,
bingo,
and you strongly disagree, and that professor doesn't want you to voice critical thinking and reasoning, but rather just repeat what is taught verbatim, there's an issue. We have to create critical thinkers. We have to help to mold them so that they can then use that in society. And I don't think we're doing that. I think we're creating individuals who are just going to regurgitate whatever it is that their parents say, whatever it is that their teachers say, whatever it is that's the most popular. And we need to go beyond that. So.
Well, now, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but Twitter under Musk, now he is now determined that he's going to publicize the actual censorship of the Hunter Biden laptop. And I don't say this in a political sense. I say this that in light of free speech that he claims he's for, he's going to release the actual arguments of shutting down censorship of censorship versus not having censorship. That's a pretty good thing, I think. What do you think of that?
So I don't know enough firsthand about that specific situation, but I think if we can open the doors to that, if that's what's appropriate, if that's going to help, I think sometimes people do things to create a stir. But if it's just to create more of an open awareness of what is, that's how we can then make our own decisions. I think that is the beauty of our country and of democracy and free speech.
JP?
Yeah, I mean, what he's talked about is actually showing the internal discussions that Twitter that they were having, talking about making sure that story did not get out, especially before the 2020 election. So
right.
Definitely exposing the censorship is what he's talking about.
Right.
Okay. So then in that case, listen, I think that we have to create as equal of a playing field as we can. And I think so much has been, I'm worried for this next election. Let's put it that way. I think that I'm curious to see what happens. And I don't know. Yes, last night I was the one saying no politics because there's so much more in life. We can talk about the rest.
But you talked about politics, right?
I didn't.
I was there, and you know about me and my wife and her family. We did not talk about politics. Can you believe it?
There's more to life than that. And that's the thing. We have to be able to compartmentalize. If we don't, then we're going to create an environment where we are so focused, where we are so driven, only to talk about that one thing, that we become hyper-focused on it, and it's not healthy.
I play golf with old guys, and I'm trying, I mean, it's good for me. It's like therapy. Because these guys are better than me. I'm probably, if not the worst, I'm close to being the bottom of the pile there. Although I do contribute at times. I know what I am, and I'm trying to get better and stuff like that. Now, one guy is a professor at the university, a PhD in something. I don't know what it is. But he started a war with me. He's a liberal. He started a war with me. And instead of arguing things, he would just insult me, insult my businesses and things like that. And I says, you know what? I don't have time for you. Have a good life. Do not contact me again. But he plays golf out there. And I get along with him now.
When do we choose to have a battle? And when do we choose to say, you know what? This is not worth.
Yeah, it was a waste of time. I told him this later on the golf course. I said, it was just a waste of time for me to talk to you because you don't understand what I'm talking about, and you're not willing to look at the things I show you. So how do I argue?
Dave, it's forget not understanding. It's not being willing. It's not being willing to say there might be a different perspective, and I want to engage and have that discussion.
Sure.
Something I disagree with a lot about is he wants to only focus on discussions with people who are like him,
right?
People who think like he does. I actually enjoy having a dialogue and having a debate with someone who thinks differently from me. I appreciate that I don't know everything, and I like hearing new ideas and new thoughts, and then saying, oh, you know what, I want to pursue this more, or this isn't something that's of interest to me, or this isn't worth my time. I like to be able to give myself that freedom to do so.
Now, here's a question I asked the rabbi this morning from Israel, Rabbi Moshe, because this kind of bothered me for a while. I says, the Ten Commandments, God is quoted as saying that you shall not pray to any god but me. So I asked him, is that somehow a misinterpretation? And he says, no. And he starts talking, and I says, well, wait a minute. If he's saying God, you should pray to no other god than me, is he saying there are other gods? And then he did admit that this was a misinterpretation, that the Hebrew word for that is meaning something like a power.
Titles.
Titles, right.
Right.
So I said, well, then it was a misinterpretation, and so God is not admitting there are other gods. He's talking about other powers, and it should not be written that way in the Ten Commandments, at least in English.
So I think that you have to, when the Ten Commandments were given, this was during the time, according to biblical theology. The idea is that there were gods, but the lowercase g, not the uppercase, right? So idols, different.
Sure.
The Egyptians worship the sun god, and
there still are, really. There still are.
So but so today we can say that could be anything. That could be outside. Social media could be a god, where people are so focused and hyper lasered on that instead of something that perhaps is a little bit more important or meaningful. That's why it's that quote that might be called God but me.
That's why that quote bothered me so much, is that God would be, if that's true, that's exactly what he said, then he would be admitting other gods existed besides himself. And we know that's not true.
Right. So I think, though, that if you look at the and I love the direction of this discussion today.
How about that? Huh?
But yeah, we went all around. But no, but there are so we have the three main religions that all relate to the same God, right? Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And so then there are also other religions that deal with other types of worship. And so the thing is, regardless of any of those other types of worship, and they call them gods or idols, then those individuals should not be considered worthy of worship. So you have to only pray to God. Right. So when Moses went up to get the Bible, the Torah, and then he, the story goes, or up to get the Ten Commandments, the story goes that that the the Jewish people were so worried that he wasn't going to come down. So then
Yeah.
they created and they melted their gold together and they made a golden calf and they worshiped the calf. And so therefore that would be a god, and you should not worship that. You should only worship.
And what did Moses do when he saw them do it?
He smashed those 10 commandments.
You sure there wasn't like 20 commandments and he only came back? It must have been heavy to carry those down. I mean, so he went back up. He got some more commandments. Did he leave like 20 up there and just bring down 10? It must have been really heavy. That poor guy was already 80 years old. Think about that.
Although I did see a meme where it said that Moses was the first guy to download data from a cloud to a tablet. So
I love that. That was cute. I saw that.
All right, we're going to end on a high note then. Other than DaveWeinbaum.net, where can people hire you and buy your book?
Thank you. So my book, Working with Difficult People, is sold anywhere books are sold. It's also an ebook and audio format. My web address, Cooper Strategic Group or amycooperhakim.com. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Amy Cooper Hakim. And I love social media.
Hates social media, ladies and gentlemen. She's told me she's hated it. Now she's told me she loves it. You know, here's a little secret that I want to tell you. The secret to a good marriage is to keep your exes who hate you away from your current wife who isn't sure. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, now she's mad. That was written well before you. Oh, I'm going to get it tonight.
No, you're not.
Ow!
No, you're not.
Should you be? Do you have a whip? Do you have a whip for your husband? You don't have a whip. Okay, one more thing. Go ahead and see if you can fix my tires. All right, rotate my tires.
I am not a mechanic.
Huh?
I am not a mechanic.
Yes, you can. Listen to this. Oh, that tickles. Stop it. No. All right, let's do basketball. I lost my nuts.
I don't even get that.
We gotta go straight to the basketball now. I think my nuts just dropped off. Whoa, man, that hurt. Terrible, right? You're embarrassed, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry. They were lug nuts. Lug nuts.
I don't even get it.
She doesn't get it. All right.
It.
I have to go explain it to her. Thanks. Shabbat shalom, my friend.
Shabbat shalom.
All right. Hi to the kids. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Was it necessary for me to do that? Why was that necessary for me to embarrass
Why do you
her?
think that's funny?
Because it is. Did you see his reaction? It's funny just for watching him.
It's a joke for the two of you.
That's the whole thing.
Don't bring me into this one.
No. You are laughing. Took us off during that. Oh man, this has been a fun show, hasn't it? So far. I mean, we're done. We're not done yet. Still got a minute and 30 seconds. So, guys, the message is we got to keep plugging away. It's like the football game. We're a little behind. We have to do things to even the score, to even the playing field. We're being treated in these elections like crap, and we can't put up with it. Let's see what the Republicans are going to do in the House to fix this. What they're going to do to fix their ineptness and educate themselves into how to beat the Democrats at their own game, if that's what the game is going to be. We can't just ignore it and then kvetch about it later. We got to take some action, don't you think? Okay. Listen, I think we had a pretty good audience for the day after Thanksgiving.
Yep, and we are definitely very grateful for all of our loyal listeners. And Yep.
Yeah, and my wife and her family. We actually had a really good time. That's the best time I ever had with your family. And you did a great job. I mean, you cooked the whole thing.
Peggy helped me.
Well, Peggy helped you, and so did your sister and
she helped with clean
her
up,
boyfriend.
Brought some veggies.
Yeah, and that was nice.
Yeah, very nice.
I thought we all had a really good time, and thank you for doing that, honey. I love you very much.
You're welcome.
And we're going to be back with this is the end of 14 years. 14 years. I'm going to be back for my 15th year beginning December the 3rd. I think that's the Friday.
December 2nd.
December 2nd.
Yep.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.